What's up, everybody? Welcome back to I Came With Fire podcast. This is the third episode in our Spooktober event. Tonight, we are here with 305 Paranormal, all the way from Miami. So it's a little coast-to-coast episode. But yeah, I'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll jump right in. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you. My name is Jenny, and this is...
I'm Mando. So you can find us on social media, 305 Paranormal, 305, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I also go by Mr. 305 Paranormal, and you can find me on IG as well.
Word. Mr. 305 Paranormal. I like that. I haven't found you. Yeah. I need to find you then. So what got you guys started on doing this? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I've never heard anybody talk about Miami being a really haunted place.
So my story more or less comes into play with hers. So we've been married now. Actually, tomorrow's 12 years.
Wow. Congrats.
She deserves an award for dealing with me.
Dealing with you 12 years? Yeah. I mean, you are a Dolphins fan, so.
That's true.
Yeah, she deserves it. She's heard me go through some tough times on Sundays, but not so bad anymore.
No doubt.
But basically, it was just her love for it. And then it was kind of like, not an ignorance, but it was more to the sense of, if I don't have an experience, then it's hard for me to kind of like grasp what it is that you're trying to explain to me. So it wasn't until my first paranormal experience that I was like, whoa, this really is a thing. It's not just something that you see. I was watching Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and shows like that, but it wasn't until I had my own experience that I was like, all right, now I have a new appreciation for it. Right. Just because I grew up watching Dan Marino or Dwayne Wade playing basketball, it doesn't mean that, I'm a basketball player now because I was watching them. But I've had my own experience, and my wife was working and waiting for her to come home. I was playing PlayStation 3, and in the place where we were staying at, we had our bedroom and we had a separate living room, kitchen area. And we had a futon set up there where, we would either have it as a spare bed for guests to come over, or that's pretty much the area where we would sit and watch TV or play games or whatever. So I'm playing, and all of a sudden I hear the metal springs of the futon, and I can hear it like if something was going down. I can see it, and I felt, my first indication was I felt a complete like cold on this side of my body, which is weird because the air source that would come in that room would be more on my right, but I felt it like brick cold. The way I can explain it is, if you guys have ever had an experience like walking into a walk-in freezer, that's how it felt. Walking into the straight cold. And then it was weird. So I'm looking down it and I see kind of like, I always call this story the ghost butt story, because that's what I saw, like an impression of like a butt, like legs and a butt. So I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it. And I'm like, oh, what am I experiencing right now? Okay, I'm just going to keep playing and act like nothing's going on. And one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to acknowledge you, or you're just going to go away. But we're going on a crash course to reality here.
What if it acknowledges you?
Yeah.
Actually, he took that remote out of his hand.
Oh, that would have been amazing, right? Or just been like, hey, you're doing good in this game or whatever, something.
Yeah, good job.
That's probably what it was doing. Probably interested in what you were doing.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
And yeah, if I've just finally, maybe like 5-10 minutes later, I finally hear the futon's springs go back up. I don't see the impression anymore, and the cold was gone.
You literally had someone sit next to you to chill and watch you play video games. That is wild.
Literally. That was my first paranormal experience right there.
I'm
not gonna lie to you.
I gotta know. Was the impression like? Was the ghost thick? Like we talking like just like
a big ghost?
Yeah, is it a big ghost? Or is this like some skinny?
Be like your average size spirit.
Average butt.
Average ghost.
I think it was. I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
that house.
That's a
that
fair
house was
question.
crazy, so I couldn't even tell you.
And then the funny thing is, anybody that knows me knows that there's one store that I hate going to. And it's not the fault of the store. It's just the fact that everybody in Miami goes there. It's so cramped. I just hate it. And it's Walmart.
Okay.
I hate going to Walmart.
Bro.
I just hate it. Like I feel like I'm gonna bump into. I'm more of a Target person.
Target
for sure.
Or Target. Thank you. I like that.
No doubt.
I'm more of a Target person. I feel like it's more up to speed. It's more like modern or something like that. It understands me. It puts the sports cards and the Pokemon cards in the front. Like I feel like they know me.
You're the target audience. Yeah.
I feel like you run a much lower risk of finding somebody doing meth in the bathroom at Target than you do at Walmart. Just speaking from experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's late at night. She comes home and I tell her, hey, let's go to Walmart. That should have been her first clue as to something was going on. But she was just like, hey, yeah, I need to go. Did not catch wind of what I had to say.
1 in the morning, I'm going.
So we go, and literally the second I passed that threshold of the welcome to Walmart person that wasn't there, but I passed that threshold and it was just word vomit. Just, oh my God, you'll never believe what happened to me, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, why did you wait to tell me here? Why didn't you just tell me in the house? And it was just like
Walmart.
It was a fear of if I told her there, it would be like me acknowledging what happened to me. And I didn't want to do it at that particular place. So we just shared a laugh there, and
he continued to do that.
I did that.
So every time something happened, he would just like wait till we were like driving in the car, like randomly. He was like, "Hey, so something happened." I was like,
"Oh, I thought you were about to say
when it happened."
No, but
I know, every time we got to go to Walmart.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
It wasn't Walmart anymore. Trust me, it was just taking time.
Taco Bell, like whatever.
Publix,
but not home.
Not inside the building.
Yeah. I love me a good pub sub and telling her what's going on with my paranormal experiences.
Hell yeah. Pub subs and the paranormal.
Yeah.
So you said that house was crazy. What made that house crazy?
Sure. Long story short, in that house, we were not that we were rooming. A friend of ours let us stay there because at that time we were saving up for our wedding. Mm-hmm. So we paid like $500 a month between both of us, which is like nothing. And then we were just saving for the wedding, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steal with a price. So,
ghostly cost.
I already knew something was up with the house prior to that because I used to house sit for him in the first place. But there was times where I guess activity ramped up, and only when I actually lived there, I felt like. So in the paranormal, I guess there's a thing called like psychic attacks, and it's like spirit will try to get at you when you're like sleeping. So kind of like maybe some people call. I didn't have that there myself. I had a dream like it was happening to him. That's one of the things. You know how people say they have like an old hag syndrome, which is basically like a sleep paralysis and like somebody sitting on you.
Yes.
So when I get dreams, I had one of those dreams, like something attacking him, and I was like fighting this thing, and creepy. I had to like wake up and like to see if he was okay. But he sleeps like a rock. Like you can drop a bomb next to him, nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
So that was
maybe
one thing.
2 bombs.
2 bombs, yeah.
2 bombs.
And so everything that how can I say? I don't want to say like the whole story, but there was.
You can say the whole story if you want.
Yeah, they had a niece at that time. She's deceased now, but she had she was basically she had issues, and
Right.
the family had done offerings. So down here in Miami, they do like Santeria, that's
Mhm.
the whole like voodoo religion, whatever. So they were do offerings every once in a while for her, So I
Okay.
think that opened up a lot of like maybe like a portal or something, and there was a lot of stuff going through that house,
Yeah.
and a lot of negativity. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Shadow people, 100%. Like in a house, I've never experienced it until there. His name would be he thought I was calling him,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't be me, but
Oh,
I noticed
dude.
that was one of the first things that happened to me when I was a kid. So I've had
Did it sound
paranormal
like her,
experiences.
or did it sound a little
Yeah.
off?
No, it sounded like her, but like anxious, like she needed help. And I was just in bed, like, waiting, like, to go to bed, to go to sleep or whatever. And she needed to use the restroom and brush her teeth and whatnot. And I was just there on my phone. I remember putting on the alarm so I can wake up the next morning to go to work. And then I hear it sounded like anxious, like if she needed help. So I was in the middle of getting up, and then she comes out, and I was like, "Hey, are you okay? And you were calling me." She's like, "I never called you. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that happened numerous times to him in the house.
That makes me think of like those Native American stuff where they say like don't go out into the woods when like you hear someone asking for help. Like help.
Oh yeah,
I need help. Don't go
Yeah,
out
you
there.
guys were
That's so creepy.
experiencing like a mimic and shadow people at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
whatever was going on there was definitely really dark, because like the whole mimic thing, like when people talk about that, like there's something, I think, that is evil going on when there's that.
I
Mimics.
did. There was one time where I probably did push him off the bed, like half of it.
Not damn near, you did.
I did, yeah. That's fine. But that one night, I think at that point we were house sitting. We weren't even living there yet. But what they call like the Hatman.
Mhm.
When we first moved there, she was like, "Oh, you're gonna see the Hatman." I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Dude, hell
Well,
no.
I saw it while we were sleeping over one day, and it was like a freaking movie. Like I saw like pitch black, like black void, like blacker than black,
Blacker than
like by the
black.
doorway, and he was like already on. But it takes me forever to go to sleep, and it felt like it was coming closer. And then at one point, I was just like trying to like close my eyes and just trying to like not really think about it. Prior to that, something woke me up. I always forget to mention this. I got touched like on my ankle, like the little bone on your ankle. And I mentioned it to him. I was like, something touched me. And he was like, yeah. And he goes to sleep. And I'm like, okay. So that's why I was like, up. I was trying to get myself to go back to sleep. And I kept seeing that thing coming closer, closer. And then at one point, it was like hovering right on top of me, where I got like an immense, like a feeling like run.
Right.
Like, run
Get out
out.
of
And
there.
I was like, I
Screw that.
freaking like scooted him off the bed. And I was like, it's right here. I'm like freaking out. He's, him, and he's like waking up like, what happened? I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
See,
If you only
one
knew.
of the creepiest things that I know about the Hatman, or like when I listen to people talk about it, is that it seems to be unaffected by like the typical things you would do to try to banish like spirits from happening. Like people, pray, ask for God to intervene on your behalf. But a lot of the people that experience the Hatman or shadow people, they say that stuff is relatively like ineffective. Like, would you agree if you had like any experience trying to protect yourself from it and just realized that wasn't working? Or
At that moment when that happened, that thought didn't even cross my mind. Like like that freak out was like insane. And
You're
it was
like
the
fight
thing
or
is
flight
like
mode and
I
in
was
full flight.
And
Yeah.
when I saw, like, I can feel the thing like right on top of me. When I looked, I like saw something like going right there. Like, so I'm like, here's the edge of the bed, and I saw it. I was like, oh my God. I just like rammed him. I was like, bro, shit, get off. And honestly, I didn't think about it, but the more I've been hearing about like, say, like aliens and stuff like that, and people say like that's like the one thing that they use to maybe like banish whatever they're seeing. I'll think about that. Now I think about it because I've had sleep paralysis before, and even later on, and I can kind of feel like if that was going to happen, so I would probably say something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I like the whole universe of the paranormal. There's all these different things. Like you guys are familiar with like Black Eyed Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Eyed Kids, Hatman, Shadow People, all these things. I think that things like that are interesting because like the Black Eyed Kids and the people talk about having experiences with them. There's like that intense feeling of dread, like what you were talking about, and it could just be, oh shit, I'm really scared, or it could be like something pushing some sort of force at you to be that scared. And then the Black Eyed Kids are always dressed almost like out of period. You know, they look like they're wearing something from like the 1800s or something.
Yeah.
And but the Hatman also looks kind of weird like that. Like no one dresses with those wide brim hats unless you're like one of these, you know, like I don't know, nerds at Comic-Con. And it's just like it makes me wonder if, like you said, the whole UFO or like alien thing, if they don't know quite how to be human. So when they dress up or try to appear human, it's not like how you and I would expect to interact with a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't want it to interact with me again because that was terrible.
Is that the only time you saw the Hatman?
There. Yeah, like that. So anything that's remotely close to that was there. Yeah. I mean, I've seen shadows in like, you know, in places we do like paranormal stuff. But to live with something like that,
yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
That's like the one thing I wanted to avoid, for sure.
What?
I will say though,
always say like what, like shadow people in your house? Yeah,
shadow people, the Hatman specifically. Yeah, for whatever reason, that terrifies the shit out of me.
Yeah. But Mando, pick that as my Halloween costume.
What I would say is though, if it wasn't for our time there, I don't think we would be where we're at now. It would be impossible for me to say that I would be a paranormal investigator today if it wasn't for that experience that I had.
So are you trying to like answer a question?
I know Jenny more than likely would because she was always fascinated by it. And funny thing that you just said that. So that curiosity kind of had opened up like a book of questions, if you will. And it's something that I've had a conversation with Jenny and our buddy Joe, and it was something like I kind of felt like down that I wasn't answering the questions, but then like as I was reflecting with them, it wasn't that I wasn't answering questions, I was answering questions, and it's just more questions started arising from the questions that I was answering.
Right.
So it was insane, but I will say I was able to experience my first ever like during a paranormal investigation. I was stuck in a cold spot in a really hot, like it was a jail that was decommissioned, and we were in a church, and I felt like I was stuck in a circle of a cold spot. I asked Jenny, that's about 3 feet away from me, and our team leader, if they were feeling anything, and they said no, they just felt hot. But Jenny kind of like put her arm closer to me, and she's like, it feels brick cold. Brick cold.
It was a totally different temperature, yeah. It was, we were like in the middle of summer.
It was in the middle of summer on top of that. So here, like you see your phone and it says, yeah, it's 91, but it feels like 999 degrees Fahrenheit outside.
That humidity, man.
Like we're pretty much like that Terminator. I'm sorry?
So it's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity every day.
It's the humidity.
Yeah.
It feels like that Terminator 2 scene where Sarah Connor is like on the fence and the bomb goes off and like everything is like going away. That's how it feels like to live here in Miami, Florida.
I believe it.
But it was like an epiphany. I was like, whoa, this is the same experience I had when that night playing PlayStation in the living room. It's the same thing. So then I was just like, all right, I'm chalking this up to I definitely had an encounter with a spirit there that night for sure.
So you say you felt a cold spot, right? And you guys are going out like seeking these things out. What exactly are you guys looking for, and kind of what makes you? This is kind of a big question. What makes you choose the places you want to go to, and what exactly are you looking for there, and like how do you look for them?
So for like me, one thing I haven't a location I haven't investigated yet is like a hospital.
Mhm.
That's like on my bucket list. And from the people that I've known that investigated hospitals, sometimes you get on EVPs, which is like when we do the recording, then we play it back. You'll hear sounds like hospital sounds, like the monitors that are in the rooms that are like beep
Mhm.
beep. So
Mhm.
like some type of like time loop or like residual energy. That interests me like a lot. I don't know why. I was like, what is it about that leaves that type of imprint going on? It's like, and I wonder. So when I investigate, I ask, what do you see? Like,
Mhm.
I want to know what they see. Can you see me?
I like
Do you
that.
see this color? This and that? Because I'm curious as to what they're looking at.
Right.
You know,
Do
we're
they
looking for
see
them, or
us?
like maybe are they looking for us somehow in a
Yeah,
weird
maybe
way?
like in another dimension, just in the same spot.
Yeah,
I've never heard somebody try to take that perspective. I like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So weird.
that's what we're curious. Do you see us in black and white? Do you see
Mm.
us in color, or do you
What
see us
if-
kind of like Predator, where it's like the heat,
Heat
like
signature.
type of thing,
What-
heat
Yeah.
signature?
I even
Right.
ask, I'm like, what year is it for you? And sometimes it will say a year, sometimes it doesn't even say a year.
Yeah.
Because, they say that there is no time in like that type of,
Right.
spirit has no time.
Right.
And, but they'll tell me a month. We did 2 events, Friday and Saturday yesterday. And it kept spitting out October.
Yeah.
So I was
Okay.
like, okay, yeah, we're in October. Or are you trying to tell me something about October? Or is it October for you? So depending on what's going on and what we're being asked, like it's interesting, like the answers you get.
Did you get an
Has
answer like yes,
anything
they
ever-
saw you?
Yeah, about how they see you. Do you ever get an answer about that?
I have once, and this was at Gold Coast, which is a train museum, and it's right next to the Miami Zoo.
Mhm.
They said like no, and then one time it had answered like black and white, but I don't know. Is it messing with me? That's another thing too. Like sometimes they could be talking shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
What we like to do, and once what we figure is more concrete, is when we get 2 pieces of equipment
Mhm.
or a pendulum or something like that, or dowsing rods that confirm the same thing. Once we know that we have at least, like I use my DR60s, and if she's using dowsing rods or something, and if both things collaborate, then we know it's pretty certain. Or like I'll use my DRs and an Ovilus 5 that we have, or something else. Like if it matches up, we feel more confident about it.
When he mentions DR60, it's a recorder. It's a voice recorder.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
Panasonic DR60s.
Yeah. What's an Ovilus?
Ovilus is essentially a device that spirit will essentially use their energy, and it's kind of like a Webster's dictionary, if you will. So it has a word base in the device, and spirit will manipulate the device to be able to communicate with us, and words, they'll just throw out words.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it takes like environmental readings.
Environment reading.
Barometric.
Barometric.
I can never say that. Barometric pressure. The EMF in that area, like something else. I just off the top of my head, I can't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool because this whole like studying the paranormal and like ghost hunting, right? There's not like a science to it, but in science, to prove something is real, you have to recreate it over and over and over again in a controlled environment, right? You say this is proof, and it's kind of hard to do that when you're dealing with what you're dealing with. But if you can get 2 different devices to kind of confirm what you're doing, I feel like that's pretty close to that like scientific method,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
And
I like that.
we do that, and we get a piece of evidence, and it's amazing. We're like shocked or whatever, and then we're spending like a few minutes trying to debunk what it is that we got, because we take great, like, it's an honor for us to be able to post the evidence that we have. And it's a pleasure to share that with everybody. But if we are sharing things that are fake, that starts to lower our reputation in the community that we're in. And that seems to happen quite a bit with a lot of folks. So we choose to spend time actually debunking and like, hey, all right, well, this made a loud noise. Maybe like you knocked over a bucket or something like that. Or, like we don't post something unless we're 1,000% sure what we got was a piece of paranormal evidence.
Right.
Do you guys have like a veto system? And what I mean by that is, you said you need like two things to, or more, like confirm things. Has there ever been a time where either one of you is like, no, I just felt this for sure, like screw needing something else, like I'm vetoing this happened? Does that ever happen to you two?
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe for me, because I know not like maybe as I'm clairvoyant, so I can see spirit. Not all the time, but I do. Like, but that's happened.
Does it happen often?
I feel like it's picked up.
Can you control it, or is it like, do you think maybe they show themselves to you and they?
Yeah, they show themselves to me.
Okay.
So I think it's more like a just off the chance, random. Like at that prison that we were talking about, one of the times we had went. I thought I saw a guy, but he had a jumper on. He had a blue jumper on, and he was standing on top of the second floor of a prison cell, and the door was open. So I just saw, I saw a dude standing there, and I was just like, okay, that's probably one of our guys, but I don't know, and how that guy was there early as hell because he's all the way across this yard. And I had said out loud, I was like, it was like one of our people out there already. I was thinking maybe they were scouting and just clearing the area first, because you never know, even though it's closed off, but just in case.
Could be some tweakers.
Like a sweep, right? And then there was a lady who was happened to be with me at the time, not with me, but with the group. And she was unpacking her equipment, and she is a medium. We haven't talked to her in a long time. She quit the group before. But she was like, they're just staring at us. And then I wasn't paying attention. And then she mentioned it again. And I was like, what'd you say? And she was like, oh, they're just standing outside of the doors looking at us. And then when she said that, like, I freaked out. I was like, wait, you see? Well, I was like, well, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, they're like literally just like waiting on us to go over there. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I just saw a dude who looked like he was all in a jumper, like a prison jumper. Right, it wasn't orange. It was like blue. It was a weird blue color. And he was just like, he did. So it'll be something like that. It'll be random like that,
I definitely want to hear more about your clairvoyance, like later experience you've had, like when that started, like as a kid, whatever. Like I want to hear about that for sure. My wife is clairvoyant as well.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
So with you saying the median said they were kind of staring at us and they're just like looking at you, right? Do you think that spirits are stuck where they're at, or can they freely move? And what I mean by that is, like, so if they're just kind of like all those spirits are like in that hospital just looking out the curtains, like, oh, look, some freaks are in our neighborhood coming to mess with us. Can they leave?
Not that you guys are freaks,
Well, you're probably freaks to them.
Yeah.
And if they're freaks to you, But like, do you think they can leave? Can they like leave that hospital and go somewhere else? Do you think that's a thing they can do?
I think they could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. There's a couple things I think about that. Like, I think if it's such a traumatic, confusing time for when somebody passes out, maybe like in a bad car accident or something, and they just kind of get lost in that transition. They don't know they died, and they're just like there. I think those are like earthbound spirits. I think those people are like stuck. Then there's other spirits that we have actually communicated with that they know they're dead. They don't want to cross over because they're kind of afraid of
the repercussions.
Yeah, they're afraid of what they're gonna have to deal with afterwards. And the example I have for that is there was a guy who we were first communicating with a child, and then basically he stopped, and then we had somebody else coming in and was like, stop talking to him. And I was like, who's this? Like, why are you telling us to stop talking to him? And it turns out he was saying it was like his dad. And they were both together. I don't know, maybe like in spirit, he's holding him back also. But I had asked, why don't you move on? And why were you still here? He said he was afraid to because he had shot him. So, yeah. So I that was wild to me.
Yeah.
And so that's one reason. And then, I don't know. I think those are my two main that I think.
There's from what I've gathered is, they have free will to do whatever they want. But then there's a third kind of thing that I would say is they're kind of like in denial. and you can actually gather evidence that they're kind of like still doing their day to day. Like they don't want to accept the fact that they're dead. So it's kind of like what it called a residual. So they're doing their normal routine. They wake up, go get coffee, go read the newspaper, or go watch TV. Like in
meanwhile,
their
you're like,
world.
who the hell's in this bathroom? And the shit's going on and on.
Right.
Yeah, they're just doing their thing, you know?
I just think it's wild that they have like the awareness to notice you showed up, but like maybe not so much to like realize like I think
that's the denial that like he's talking about. You know what I mean? Because like if you recognize you're now sharing your space with something, but it's kind of like, you know, they're going to Walmart, right, to get away from it. You know, on the other side, instead of recognizing, right? That's their denial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that spirit's going to Target and we're going to Walmart.
Exactly.
We're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. I'm telling you.
I've always thought that like you talk about like residual hauntings. You talk about like hospitals where you'll hear like the tones or whatever, or like battlefields like Gettysburg I've talked about before, where you'll see even like troops marching, or you hear like drums or trumpets and stuff like that. And I almost wonder if it's just that there's so much energy that's there that it is just playing over and over and over again, and that it's not actual sentience, kind of like a ghost, you know, that's aware and can communicate, is if you could call it sentience, but it's just like trapped energy because it's so traumatic and serious, right? Yeah, like, you know, Gettysburg, so many people died there. Or like if you go to like some of these ships that have were in World War II or whatever, you can hear like where they got hit by a torpedo. Some people talked about hearing like water rushing and men screaming, you know. That just plays on a loop over and over again because there's so much of that emotional release all at once, all that fear from 50 people in the hull of a ship, you know. That you know, I almost wonder if that's like if you could categorize them, like what they would be, you know what I mean?
That one, weird. I don't think they know what's going on. Like the loop, if it's something residual, they're not even aware. Yeah. You know, I think it's just like, it's just an imprint. It's just happening in that little time realm. I don't know.
It's like a paranormal wave. Like you're like rivers, you get pulled under in a river and just keeps you turning and turning like that in those pools. I almost wonder if it's something like that where you just can't get out of it. It would be pretty terrible to be trapped like that.
Maybe that's purgatory.
Yeah. Oh.
And not even just humans. Like we've gathered evidence before, like in the train. Like there was some teammates of ours that got like on an EVP or something, like a train.
Train whistle.
Horn, like the whistle, the
boop
boop. Like they got that. And that it's a museum. It's not an active train station.
That just
that's really incredible.
I think we've gotten like the wheels going on like the track sound before. I've heard that before. But
that's crazy.
That wasn't from us. That was from our teammates.
That just made me think of something where you just kind of just said that you're talking. I can't remember exactly what you said, but a thought came in mind. I can't believe I've never thought of this before. But like, are there like ghost animals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, so like, how would you determine a ghost animal from a real one? Like, would you just see a cat walk through a wall?
Yeah.
Or
I've seen
I'll say this.
I've seen that shit.
Speaking of that, I'll let her tell. She's got a good story for that.
I want the good story of ghost animal. Go.
So ghost animal. There's
I can't believe I've never thought of this before.
There's an estate. I never thought about it until it happened to me, and I was like, after that, I was like,
you're like, wait a minute. Is the bird I see a drone or is it a ghost? Who knows?
It's a government drone. We were doing a forensic class field trip. Well, we were hosting for a forensic class field trip at the Deering Estate. It's a mansion off of Old Cutler Bay. And we've been there 10 times at least. I don't know how many times, but we've been there quite a few times, and I've never come across anything like that where him and another teammate of ours, I was standing in front of them, and there's the bedroom door. So one of the videos I have for you guys is about that, actually.
Sweet.
So yeah, you don't catch it on camera, but like my whole reaction and everything that happens afterwards is on there.
Okay.
So I had mentioned, I thought I just saw a cat kind of like going between one of their legs, And when I was like staring at it, but it was only from the middle of the body and the butt and like the tail. It was black. And it scooted behind this like nightstand. And I'm right there. And I'm not even, I'm like 2 feet, within 2 feet of this thing. And then I looked, and like I kind of like moved them out of the way. I looked under the bed. I didn't see anything else. And I'm like, that's weird. But they know. I was like, I just saw a black cat.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn that I was like, all right, maybe it's real. I don't know. But I've never seen anything like that. Later on that night, so at this point, the kids come in. We do our whole thing with the kids. And they leave. In between one of the, I think that last group had left. I'm looking this way, and there's they have like a Jack and Jill bathroom in that same bedroom. And it's Mrs. Deering's room, if I want to be more specific. And I saw the same cat, but now like the front of it rubbing its leg. You know how you have cats? One of you has a cat, right?
I have a cat.
Yeah, I heard it. So you know how like pretend it
meow.
has and pretend this is like the leg of a table. You know, like it'll kind of like caress its body like
they
that.
always rub up on the
Yes, because I used to have a cat when I was little.
Yeah.
So it did that on that thing, and I was like, this whole reaction was on camera. Like I looked and I was like, so what? And I was like, yo, I just saw the cat again. Meanwhile, on the background, we had a portal running, and this is like a radio sweep through like like have you seen them with the guitar amp? You know,
it's called the honeytone.
Yeah,
and it's with a noise gate and a reverb, and
so it just makes it like louder and stuff. So that was going on at the same time, and it said like meow, like a meow came out of there.
Yeah,
and then something
That's
said black,
wild.
and then my friend was like, "Was it black?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was black."
And it also said a cat like that.
Yeah, it was like all this crap came out,
What
and
the
before
heck?
that even happened, it sounded like a gag, like a hairball gag. When and I was like, but I didn't catch that
Everything
until
you
after
can
when I was
experience
reviewing.
about a cat.
Yeah, the whole thing, and I was like,
I just think it's
What
wild.
the
You have like
hell?
the front of the cat and the back of the cat.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you saw both halves at like different locations at the same time. Like
oh my god,
That would be insane.
So that makes me wonder, right? Because I just feel like there have to have been more animals on this planet than human beings, like in total throughout time, right? So like, what is so special about like, say, that cat to where it can come back to where you can see it, you know? And is it like, because I think animals have spirits, right? That's just my personal belief.
Yeah.
But like, what's the difference between like maybe a coyote or a wolf having a spirit in the woods and a domesticated dog or a cat? Like, do you think there's more of like a possibility that domesticated animal is going to linger like that than like, say, like a wild animal?
because it has a human connection, maybe, or
Right.
like maybe it
I was
like
gonna
was
say maybe because it
taught
was more like
empathy.
loved and
Yeah. As opposed
See, I
to
never thought about that.
just instinct, right?
Yeah.
that's,
I would bet
Yeah.
it probably has something to do with maybe like intelligence. I just think it has to do with like maybe you have the ability to understand that you are like aware that you exist in a way, and that
Well, it's
maybe
like
allows
cats,
you
they
to
only
stay.
meow because they know that humans talk.
True, they don't meow to each other; they only meow
Right.
to humans. But
Mhm.
just because a cat meows, this doesn't necessarily mean it's intelligent. Because there's just some stupid cats.
Well,
So I'm
plus you
wondering-
could say that wild animals are a lot smarter than domestic animals too, though.
You could. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
if like maybe there's just are some very intelligent like bears, but then maybe they stay behind.
The ones
And
that
there's-
ride unicycles at the circus are definitely super smart.
Yeah, those are gross.
they're fucking smart.
Yeah. Super fucking smart. Yeah.
Well, the bottom half stays, so it can ride the unicycle. The top half
Dude, I
is
didn't
somewhere
see
else.
that.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that. Yes.
Dude, yeah. For sure. That's like some Russian circus shit. But my aunt and uncle had a cat that he'll still tell you about to this day. Like 30 years ago they had it, and it had just passed away. And every night it would come and jump up on their bed as they were getting into bed, and that's how they knew that he got into bed with them. And then a couple times after he passed away, they would both feel that little leap, and there's kind of the rooting around, and then the settle of the cat. And they didn't have a cat anymore. And that to me is just super wild. It's almost like something, that connection between them two, like you said, Zach, like that human and animal connection between the two spirits is so prevalent that it can do that from the other side. Maybe you do get to see your dog when you get to heaven. Who knows?
Well, they all go
It's
to
pretty
hell.
cool.
That's actually
is
funny
true.
that you mentioned
There's a
that
movie
because
about
there
that.
was someone I remember. I don't remember who it was, but it was someone that we know that their dog had passed, and they still felt the dog around the home, and how they knew that the dog was there. This dog had the same routine where the dog would jump on the bed, walk in a circle, and then like lay down.
Yeah.
And they still felt that after the fact that the dog had passed.
So I'm wondering if
it's crazy
because
That is
maybe cats are clairvoyant too. Because sometimes my cat's
Oh, dude, I
staring
totally.
at the
They
corner.
see.
Oh, they see.
Bro, I think
You know why
cats
they
are
see?
like.
And I'm like,
It's like that,
all right,
that movie.
all right, Kuma, that demon's there, cool, but like, can you like look another way? Like, I don't even know what's there. Go
Have
somewhere
you guys
else.
seen the movie Constantine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keanu
So like
Reeves.
that scene
Yeah.
where he's like going to hell and he's holding the cat and he says like cats have 1 foot in and 1 foot out anyway. I totally
Mhm.
believe that, dude. Cats are like the guardians of the door to the spirit realm.
That's what they say.
I think. Yeah.
Huh.
Just look
That's
at the
like,
Egyptians, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
like-
They're
Yeah.
they can see the underworld, I guess.
I need
That's what it
Kuma
is.
I
to
think
warn
so.
me. There's a
But
demons here.
I
She don't
have
give a
read
shit, dude. She wants
about
to
it.
die.
They see full spectrum, so that's why
Okay.
they see stuff.
Mhm.
Mm.
And tigers, I forget if it's mentioned dogs, but I know it's like certain animals is
The
literally is
feline,
full
like
full
mine,
spectrum
yeah.
vision.
Tigers.
So what we use for like full spectrum camera to see
Yeah.
to get other type of like frequency or whatever, they
Mhm.
have that. That's why you see them like freak out and look at a corner and they're just like, and you're like, what the fuck is there?
Dogs. I know dogs have that to a certain extent because they can sense
I
something.
think them is like
but
their
more,
senses.
it's more of a like a protective thing. Like
Yeah. They know something's up,
Yeah,
but they can't
like-
see it. They're like, hey, something's up.
yeah,
Where the cat's literally like
Cats can
mean
see it,
mugging
and
the
I think-
demon.
and the dogs, I think, well, they say the animals can like they have that energy. They sense like when something's
Yeah,
going to happen
to
or whatever
detect
like that.
when-
Yeah, they know when
Well,
natural
birds
disasters are
have that
happening
too.
usually too, yeah.
I think that dogs have just a super level of instinct, and I think you could probably compare it to how like, thousands of years ago human beings seemed to be much more in tap with the spiritual side of things. And I think that's because when you consider we're a lot less removed from like our evolutionary neighbors, right? So like older versions of ourselves are a lot more instinctual. And you have to live outside. That's why everybody likes fire. Everybody's afraid of the dark. These are things that we built over time from like being a caveman to today here on a podcast. And I think dogs just have that seriously deep rooted innate sense and instinct because they're still part wild in some way,
They
I
still
think
got
that
that
that's
dog
like-
in them.
They do still got that dog in them, dude. They still that wolf in them.
Yeah.
And I think even the Chihuahuas. And I think that
Definitely the Chihuahuas.
that's like cats. Cats have that, like you said, maybe like this full spectrum eyesight and all that other stuff. Because they're more wild than dogs are when you consider their domestication. But I think because dogs have very limited vision. But I think maybe that's like dogs is like more instinct, which is why cats like they just look like they're spazzing out, like you said all the time, because they really can't see the closet monster and the Hatman duking it out. Cats are creepy to me, man. Nope, not owning a cat.
Speaking of cat clairvoyance, I want to go back to that and kind of
Catvoyance.
like catvoyance, yeah.
Voice.
How did when was the first time, kind of what Brandon wanted to talk about earlier, what was the first time you kind of experienced it? Have you been able to enhance it? Like, what's this like? We want to know.
I don't know if I can enhance clairvoyance. I think that would just come to you. I can, no.
Like X-Men.
I do
just
try
use
to.
it.
So now I try to meditation. I think does help for that. I do
Yeah.
that, and so I get like clairvoyance, and also just get like sometimes I'll get like a word for me. I don't know. Like I can't figure out if I'm hearing a word or like sometimes I see the word spelled out. So like there's some groups that we do like practice, and there was one lady I was just reading, and I had seen the word sun like written out, but SUN, and then like an actual kind of like a little clip art shit of a sun. And I told her, I was like, I get sun, like I got like sun, and then like that, like the word, and then like a sun on the background of it, right? And I was like, I got the word sun, but like SUN, but then like sun. I was like, so does that mean anything to you? She's like, oh, she was like, yeah. She was like, I have a son. I don't know. This lady's like, I just met you. I call him my sunshine. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, so like, so when we do practice like that, like that enhances it, I guess, for me. But like spirit, if they want to show themselves, they're just going to show themselves to you, whatever. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the right time or right, like, moment. I think sometimes.
Has there ever been a time where one just like showed itself to you and you're in the middle of doing something, you're like, fuck, like go away. Yeah.
Yeah. All the time. Like one here
all the
in
time.
this house.
I've experienced that too.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, what the fuck was that? You know?
Yeah.
When we first moved into this place, we had bought this house.
Mm-hmm.
That was in October of 2019. Literally, I mean, I couldn't even make this up. On Halloween night, we had finished trick-or-treating and doing all this crap. And we're right in the wall behind here is our living room where we watch TV.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can pan this real quick. Because I'm going to show you exactly where it's at.
Okay.
See this fish tank?
Yeah.
So right here, this hallway,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was sitting on the other side of this wall, and everything was for the most part dark. The fish tank light was on. It's blue, but it's like a bright blue, like a LED type thing. And yeah, the kids were passed out. He was passed out, but I'm just watching TV. And I saw a girl. I think I cleared it out, so I'm good to talk about it. But I saw a girl just kind of like pop up from like in front of the fish tank, and she was walking towards the hallway.
Okay.
And like I saw something move, so I kind of like I'm looking at the TV, and I just kind of like glanced over, and then I saw her, and I was like, okay. And when I saw her, like she looked. First time I ever seen something like this, which was like it looked dead. Normally, I see spirit, it looks like that, you know, like a guy standing in the jail, like he was there every day. Like this one looked like he looked dead, you know.
Oh shit!
And I was like, okay. And she kind of like we locked eyes, and then she like started like moving on into like the hallway, and she gave me like a weird like creep smile, and then she like went that way, and I was just like,
she acknowledged you. She was
and I was like,
she wanted
and
you
the
to
first
see
thing
her.
that came, yeah, exactly. The first thing that came out of my mouth was like, "This bitch." Like that's the first thing I said. I was like, "Why would you do that?"
Why was
like,
she?
You know
why was
I
she
saw
there?
you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And then she gave me like weird ass creep smile, and I was like, I think spirit can present themselves any way they want to. Like, I want to look. Maybe my happiest times were like a 4-year-old. I want to come back as a 4-year-old, whatever. Or like I want to be like just an old lady the rest of my life, or I want to look like how I died or something. I think that's what she did. Like, because she knows I can see it, she did it.
I wonder what the point is then of being like a, cynical asshole from the other side. Just like
you got get your attention. Time.
Did you see her again?
Dick.
Okay, so not like that. And I have seen a girl recently, like lately, or a couple times earlier this year, but it was like in white. So at first I was like, I don't think that was her, but then I was talking to somebody, and I had mentioned this, and they were like, maybe it's that same girl, but she's just presenting herself another way. And she's like, and I don't think it's a girl in the first place. I was like, yeah, I don't think so either. But he has seen, I think.
Yeah, I saw her. So we have a staircase.
What the staircase?
It's kind of like the cat. I didn't see the top half. I saw the bottom half, but instantly, like what came into my mind that gave me like goosebumps, hair raising, and everything. Like it pictured in my brain, like the girl from The Ring.
That's
Samara. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I
7
was like,
days.
Bro, what is this thing doing going up the stairs? And I told her, and
yeah, so I was like, ugh.
And what was weird was we were going to that jail with our friend Joe. We're doing a road trip, and we're kind of like telling him about our experience with this same spirit. And he's like, bro, I just had like a very similar like spirit in my house, and it looked just the same.
Yeah, like me and him, we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Brandon was saying.
Well, I was gonna say, you said that you didn't think it was a woman. Do you think it was demonic?
I don't know, demonic. I just think just some lower level type of like spirit that maybe wants you to think it's a child. just for you to like gain its like. I'm like,
So-
oh, you can stay here. No, I don't want any of that shit to stay here. You know,
Well,
some people like
creepy,
that.
creepy smiling at me. You ain't could be staying here. That's for sure. So
Yeah,
you
well,
said-
that's the only time it appeared like that ever,
Mhm.
at least to me. And after that, I have seen something that looked like just like a kid, and it was like all white.
Mhm.
This one, she had like pigtails like this, and
Mhm.
it looked like like a white pajamas, like Wendy from Peter Pan
Yeah.
type
So-
vibe to her. And then that was like really fast. So if you see something like that, you're like, oh, it's a kid, but
Yeah.
you don't trust that, yeah.
So
I
you
did
said
want
lower-
to also.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I did
No, no,
want.
go ahead.
I also wanted to say what you were more touching base into, or giving an example of what you were just saying.
Mhm.
We had investigated the spiritualist capital of the world. It's called Casadega, Florida, is the name of the town. We went to the Ann Stevens bed and breakfast. It's one of the more popular bed and breakfasts there. The owner of the home, she passed in her 70s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah. No, like almost 80. Like 79 or something.
70s, 80s. But she presents herself when you talk to her. She presents to herself at the age where she was the most happiest in life, and she's documented that and everything. So she
Wow.
comes back like younger than 10 years old. I think 6 or 7.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a good 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And
That's
that, and
interesting.
she's like there like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
She
cool. I've
died
never.
at like 70, but she comes back as a 6 or 7-year-old. Does she communicate like a 70-year-old? Like in a 6 or 7-year-old body?
Like she'll
Boy, that's
Like does she
kinda
seem like
weird.
an old soul?
So
Yeah.
when we went, I can't really answer that question
Uh-huh.
because I'm going off of what other people have told me. I can't
Okay.
tell you
Got you.
Yeah.
personally.
Got you.
Because every time I try to do a recording or a portal session, we weren't getting her.
Mm.
But the pieces of evidence, like they were saying that there's a specific doll that she loved to play with, and there was a music box that was kind of playing like
like a music box.
kind of like
Music, you know
old
what I'm saying?
music box,
Jewelry
like
thing.
music, like a jewelry box, So the spirit kept playing with that, but it wasn't
Mhm.
until like the next day the reason why we were there. We do stories from time to time for a Spanish television channel called a Univision, and we
Okay.
do a story for their like world news. It's called Primer Impacto.
Okay.
So we do a
Little
series,
segments here and
little
there, yeah.
segment with them from time to time. So we were with them to do that story. So the
That's
next
cool.
day, it was kind of like doing B-roll of like daytime and just wrapping up the story. And we're there, and the team that went to investigate, like all of us together, we went to go say bye to her, and I saw the shadow of her kind of like walking or going away from the doll and going like behind the couch.
Like scoot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I think we startled it. And then I had asked, I was like, dude, did we scare you?
Mm.
And it said on the EVP, like, yeah.
Yeah. That's the
I was
pretty
like, I'm
much
sorry.
the most
See,
it communicated.
it's funny you said that because I wanted to ask. Brandon kind of was like, "Have you ever seen a spirit at like any convenient time for you?" I was gonna ask like the opposite. Have you ever like noticed a spirit? Like the spirit's like, "Oh crap, you see me," and like bounces, like is inconvenienced by you noticing it. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit."
Yeah.
Oh.
Like with that, and I think I have ran into that myself. But I don't know if it's just like a child thing. Like in a Riddle House in Yesteryear Village.
Mhm.
There's a child spirit there also. But there's a good boy who died there.
Mhm.
And he's known to like frequent there or whatever. And that's another time that we had gotten something like that. Like I think we've kind of, I don't know, maybe they're in their own little world or whatever. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, all right,
It notices you like just filter in or pop in, and it's like, gotta go.
like dip,
Just
come out.
leaves.
Yeah.
I kind of believe that they know we're not just normal people. Like
Yeah.
they have to know that we're able to communicate with them somehow.
Right. I could see that because there's so many times where you see people that like try to do ghost investigations. They'll bring somebody that's normally not there, and they don't get anything. You know, it's like maybe because they don't feel comfortable with that other person being present, and you something different about you. So earlier you said that it was a lower level spirit. So does that mean that you think that there's like a hierarchy?
Oh yeah.
Like, what is that? How is that defined, like to you? That hierarchy?
I think like maybe like the highest for them, but the lowest in that, if it was like a scale, would probably be like, you know, like what everybody would call like Satan or like the devil. He has his like little workers, and they have their people or their little spirits that do their bidding. There's like also too, like sometimes people say like, have you ever heard somebody say like don't mess with like fairies or like elementals and stuff like that?
The fae elementals.
With fae. So I don't know where they fall into that, but sometimes they're like, they're not that great. Or the jinn, you know, they're kind of like on that. They're not really there to help you, and they could maybe like mess you up or mess something in your life up, and then it goes up to where maybe you're asking for like your angels or guardian angels, or your spirit guides, who are there to like help you or protect you, and just go up to archangels and stuff like that, and probably stuff that I don't even know.
Yeah. So within what for your scale, your hierarchy, what level would you say that like you've had an interaction with that would be like the worst? You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst thing you've had to deal with?
I forgot to mention, like where we're at. So they say like on that little spiritual level, I do believe I think there's stuff on where we're at, but it's just in a dimension we can't see them. So I kind of think that's where like shadow people lie.
Okay.
I think they're there, but just like they can creep in and out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're like, I don't think they are like something that's like under us. I think they are there. They just, that's what I've heard. And I kind of feel like that just because I've experienced that. So I think there's stuff on our level also, you know, it's just like another peak in another realm, I guess.
So you would say that shadow people are the most sinister thing that you've dealt with?
That I've dealt with?
It's kind of what I was getting at, like where, like hierarchy-wise.
No, I just that I dealt with. I think the worst thing I think I've dealt with, only it happened to him though.
Ooh, okay.
That was it was like probably like it was a lower like type of entity, but it had a lot of power.
Okay.
Enough to like try to like overtake him or like manipulate him, but you know, maybe depends on the person, I guess too, you know, like why it'll be able to like so easy to like get into maybe a person's mind or whatever.
Okay.
But that thing, we were in another prison that we were actually going to in a couple weeks, and that's in Trenton, Florida, when that happened, like a year ago, and that place was so hot. It was in October also, and at one point when all this was going down, it's
about to be the 1 year anniversary, actually.
Yeah, we're going in a couple weeks for Halloween weekend, and that
you mean like
place
hot
got
temperature wise or hot activity?
Yeah, well,
wise?
yeah, like
Okay.
Well,
I meant
like hot, like Miami hot.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah,
I just meant like
Miami
hot, like activity wise. Yeah.
Oh no, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, that place does get really active for sure.
Gotcha.
And the temperatures changed like completely. Like that's where I can say like this was like a meat locker. Like we were in a walk-in freezer. Everything got, and it just kept getting colder and colder and colder. Like he was freezing at one point. And this was the only room in that it's like an 8 prison cell.
Yeah, it's an like 8 prison cell, and the back it was the sleeping quarters for the like the policemen that were there. But then it just got to the point where they wouldn't sleep there, and they would just do like a 9 to 5. So like they just were there. All right, not 5 o'clock, I'm out, and then pretty much it was inmate justice at that point.
Oh shit.
So basically what happened to me, so we were investigating in the gathering room, and we were doing an EVP session, and it was kind of like a U shape.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting down on one bench with my buddy Joe, and then on the other, like the wraparound portion,
Yeah.
Jenny was sitting with one of our friends, Reese, and then on the other side was our friend Reese's father, Steven, where he was actually filming us.
So he was directly across from
He was
you.
directly across from me and Joe.
Okay.
And then there was another team that was there as well. I don't know if the other team was kind of like antagonizing or what, but because we've been there before without that other team, and it was
after the fact. That was our
after
first
the
time
fact.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a completely different environment. So yeah, we're doing the EVP session, and it gets cold. She's looking at me because I'm like shivering. I'm like trying to do this and warm up.
He was acting weird.
I was just acting weird, and then what I started training myself to do. So how she has her abilities. I'm not saying I have abilities, but I'm working on trying to develop certain things. So like I know when I hear things, I tell her, you got to trust me because I know I heard it. I know you didn't hear it, but I heard it.
Okay.
So I would say I have a really good sense of hearing and feeling. I'm not there visually like her. And she's a human lie detector, so you can't really lie to her.
It's a good skill.
Yes.
But what I started trying to learn how to do is I would try to look at my third eye. So I'd close my eyes and try to, like, if you will, look into like here. And
I'm giving lessons. Wow.
There you go. That's how you do it.
Sounds like a
to
good
try to
tool.
help visualize. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because Joe is doing the same thing, unknowing to me. So while I'm trying to focus, he's saying you do not have permission to touch me or be around me. And essentially what was happening was he was seeing that
He
spirit.
felt like something on his back. No.
Oh, wow.
He had felt something like on him.
He felt something on him.
Yeah.
And he was just telling him, you do not have permission to be around me or touch me or take over me or whatever. So I guess since it failed with Joe, naturally it just came to me. And then what I was able to visualize, for everyone that's ever seen an episode of The Simpsons, this is the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
What is the very first thing that you see? You see the intro, right? But who's the very first person you see? You typically see Bart, right? And Bart is kind of like he's in detention. And, you know, for the younger of us that had to do the detention, it was the writing on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
I will turn in my homework or whatever, or I won't throw a piece of paper at the teacher or something like that. So that's what he does. And then he goes and that's the intro, right? But what I saw was, it was a hand that wasn't my hand, but it was a hand, and it was writing "F-U," but the words.
Oh, wow.
Over and over and over again. And then, like, I looked to the right, and it was like that chalkboard went on for like yards and yards and yards and yards and yards, and it was already filled out with "F-U."
Holy crap.
And then just I at that point, I don't quite remember anything else that happened. So now I'm going to tell you the perspective of Steve, because since he was filming, I was able to watch it. So a little after, I kind of put my head in my hands. I don't remember doing that. And like Jenny and Joe, it was Jenny, but she notices that I'm off. And she's asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like not really responding like myself. And then at that point, you start seeing under my eyes is getting dark, and my eyeballs, I didn't have white.
It was
just all dark.
Yeah.
Shit.
He was like really aggressive, and I can see like his face, like demeanor on his face.
My demeanor was changing.
Joe said he was like at one night he had looked over at him, and he thought
he felt the
he thought he was like, this guy's gonna like punch me type. He thought he was gonna have to like hold him back at one point.
Do you think he was trying to possess you?
What it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it sounded
some type
like.
of like.
And then they were wanting to stop the investigation, and I'm holding these 2 recorders that right now go for almost $4,000. You can't find them now for anything less than that. And I had the recorders, and I slammed them down on the table, and I was saying, no, I want to keep going. And they, like, Jenny was like, no, we're leaving. We're getting out of here. I didn't start feeling like I was starting to get control of myself again until like walking out of the threshold of that gathering room, like into an outside. And they were kind of like filling me in on what was going on. And they saged me. We said some prayers. And I finally felt like I was in control of myself. So we went back in, but I just felt like drained. I was, essentially like your phone, how it tells you, hey, you only have like 5% left and you're going to die of like falling asleep. That's how I was.
Damn.
I was not functioning anymore.
Yeah, you went through an emotional turmoil, like both
spiritual
spiritually and physically.
attack. Yeah.
I wasn't myself for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
I say like a good 2 weeks. Like that energy like lingered on. He was,
What does that mean?
I wasn't myself, as in I just felt like I was just mentally drained. I was tired. I would second guess myself a lot. Like
short-tempered.
I would just tell her, no, not short-tempered, but it was just like I always have a routine, like with my
super foggy. Like he lost a Beats.
I lost my Beats headphones that and I'm not like that. I'm a creature of habit. When I get home every day from work, I go and I put my keys, my phone wallet keys, like Adam Sandler says, phone wallet keys and my headphones, and I put them in like in my office. I have like a set area in my desk that this is where this goes.
Yeah.
During that time, like I'm like, what am I supposed to have again? Like, and there I'm like, normally like it would take me 10 minutes to be in and out ready for work and like out the door. It was taking me like 30 minutes, 40 minutes just to like, all right, what do I do next?
He was a hot mess.
Yeah, I was just, I couldn't function. I could not function. You know how like people say they have like COVID brain, like when they have COVID and they just can't function. That's how I felt like.
Jeez.
And then she was worried because
he seemed depressed on top of that. So I was like, every once in a while, I'm like, yo, are you okay? Like, you kind of look like somebody shit in your fucking cereal. Are you good?
That would be sad.
It was like 2 weeks of this. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to like do something.
Unlucky charms.
Unlucky charms.
And you know what it was? But it was just the fact that, I'm supposed to be like the protector or whatever, like that male thing that we have. It's not something that we have, but it's kind of like not said, but it's understood that that's what it is. So as the male, like I'm supposed to be the protector, and knowing that she was like scared for me or whatever, it just was not a shot to like my ego, but like a shot to myself, like as a person. Like, man, I made her like worry about me, and I know I didn't have control of it, but still, it's just
I get that
not comfortable.
Right. Yeah, I gotta be real. Like listening to you guys talk, like we've talked to a couple like teams, paranormal investigation teams, and maybe it's because you guys are married, but like I feel like you guys have a very spiritual connection, and I also feel like there's something deeper there with you guys that like, if I could get to know you, if we are having this conversation in person, I might like feel it and not like through the screen, but that like there's something like a deeper layer there with you guys. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I'm not very good with conveying that, but
like
if that makes sense.
Paranormal wise?
Yeah,
Or-
that like you guys have something about you that doesn't just seem like two friends or even like a couple like, hey, we're just gonna go do this. Like it feels like there's a layer there that is maybe it's like a meant to be thing, but like there's just something there that like you talked about. You're trying to answer questions before. Maybe it's like not just that you're trying to answer questions, but that like your plan, like life plan, is to do this. If that makes sense. And hopefully that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like we were destined to be doing this.
Yeah, that's like the impression I'm getting from you guys.
And I do appreciate that you tell us that, and not even to sound like we're bragging or anything, but there's a lot of folks that feel like you guys too, and it makes us feel good because it's like we must be doing something right.
Like to me, like I want to do this. Like if I get a lot of DMs from people, and how do I clean my house, or what do you think about this, or like I get a lot of questions, and I think if anything, if I can help anybody out, this is what I want to do. And if anybody even hears any of my stories and be like, oh crap, that's happened to me. Like there's a guy I used to listen to before, Jim Harold podcast.
Oh yeah,
Campfire
Ghost Story. Yeah, I love that, Jim Harold.
Yeah, so I would listen to his stuff, and sometimes very few there would be some weird things that happened to me, and I was like, oh my god, somebody's like experiencing the same thing I do. So like I like that. So if anybody can take away anything that I've experienced, and they're like, oh, I'm not weird, that's happened to
relate.
Yeah,
I get that
definitely
calling vibe from you guys.
And I kind of feel honored too, because there's new friends of ours. They go by Black Smoke Paranormal, Stephen Mella. I feel honored that they came to us because they were about to quit. Actually, this was a hobby for them, and they were about to quit because they didn't have like a set of friends that were local to them that they can just talk to, or just to give them the motivation to keep going. Like they didn't have a group or anybody to keep going with, and what I recommend anybody is, if this is something that you're interested in doing, don't feel embarrassed or ashamed to find a local paranormal group and just go to their events and see if this is something that you want to do.
Jump in.
Because you never know, you might be going into an event as a guest and be doing something that you might be loving in the future to do as a paranormal investigator.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I like just listening to you guys talk. It's like, I wish I could go experience this stuff with you guys, because I feel like watching you work would kind of like, I don't know what to compare it to, but like watching two masters do the thing. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the vibe I get, like just like in awe, like over there watching you guys. But I really want to see some of the evidence that you guys have tuned up for us.
Okay. So let's see first. I'm looking at on my little window.
I'll let you guys pick. Dealer's choice. Dealer's choice.
You know what? Let's start with
the cat thing.
The cat.
Oh yeah.
So this is the Deering Estate, and this location is very important to me because this is actually the very first place that she took me to go investigate.
Okay.
So it's always going to be important to me because it's the first place, if you will. And in this video, you're going to see a good friend of ours. His name is Ernesto. He plays guitar for a rock band called Modern Mimes. So please check him out. He plays a double neck guitar.
It's him and his wife. And then his drummer is from
New Orleans. His wife's name is Avi. Amazing
town.
Voice. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he's told us a bunch of times,
he's like
come over here. You can like hang out like where we record, but like you can,
Dude, what's cool is he does a lot of so they play in a lot of like local like little theaters and stuff like that, and a lot of those places like. He's like, I investigated here after. Shit sounds like.
Yeah,
I believe it, dude. I've had
Yeah.
people go to New Orleans and come back and like they tell me that they believe that like vampires are real because they spent like 3 days in New Orleans and like at night. Like that, I've never been. I really want to go, but like, if you're coming back and you think vampires are real now, like something's going on there.
Something's
man.
crazy
Like,
going on.
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I've always believed in aliens.
Same.
It took me until adulthood to fully believe in paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't there be vampires or
I'm gonna have to see that one
cryptids
and believe it.
or
I don't know.
You
Dude,
know,
we fully
I don't-
believe in
hey.
cryptids on this podcast.
right? Yeah.
Interdimensional
So-
Bigfoot is real, and I
That's what I
also
He's
really
a little
like to.
on that one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I like to ask the question. You know, where is Jesse Carey? That's my biggest question.
We gotta find him for sure.
Yeah, they're like, we have no idea. It's okay. We don't
It's all
either.
right. We'll figure
We'll
it
tell
out.
you. We'll tell you
When we
later.
find him.
You
Yes.
find him and tell me.
Let us
Okay.
know.
I'll let you know.
All right. So yeah, we'll show.
Wait, how do I
For
do
the,
it first?
for
Do
the
I have to
stuff you're
press the share
sharing,
button?
down at the bottom it says share, and then you can do
Yeah,
screen,
okay.
and you can pick what you want.
Ah.
And then because,
So,
again, this is
screen
audio
that.
as well, kind of try to explain things when we're kind of
Yeah.
fumbling
And
around picking
If you
things.
do just listen to us audio, please consider watching so you
That'd be
can see
great,
all
too.
the cool stuff our guests share. And yeah, watch.
I wonder, would I be able to jump
should-
this around?
If you just press screen, then it should let you pick kind of which ones you want to do.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Mhm. It's coming up. There it is.
And then
And as a reminder, please like and subscribe.
Heck yeah,
You're so dumb.
for all of us, please go.
Every
Like
tell your
everybody-
friends
everybody's
about
told
us.
everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
ELE,
So-
everybody love everybody.
Yes.
I always be saying that.
ELE.
I don't know if this is gonna be like super loud, so
We call it more para unity, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's under the same umbrella.
That's
don't
right.
Alright,
worry
so
about
here-
it being loud. It'll play
Yeah.
at the volume it needs to be.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
thank God. So this is obviously this was already loaded up, but what happened here is I was gonna show right where I saw the cat, as
Okay,
you can,
okay.
as you can freaking read here. But yeah, I'm gonna jump around. I made little footnotes. So right there, like behind that little black thing,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
that's where I saw the cat, right? And I'm here like talking crap about it. Blown away. So let me see.
Can you tell us your name?
I didn't know that
that
came
was
out. Like nobody heard that
definitely
crap
meow.
live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa.
No,
Okay.
like, nobody. We didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's going by so fast. I find it funny every time I like, and it meowed again at 1:05. I took like
That was 100%
there.
a
It says,
meow.
no, and it does it again. Look. You saw that? It
Yeah.
said meow again. At this
It
point,
did.
I had kids in the room. They don't know about the story. So when Ernesto right there, he was talking to the kids. He's like, "Hey, somebody say your name." So what we do is we do a thing where we have everybody introduce themselves, and I ask Spirit to repeat the name of the person they want to say hi to or speak to. All right, so
Okay.
let me go right here. So this is where I kind of the kids were leaving, and I'm gonna end up seeing that cat again. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Whatever.
Say good night. Good night.
The bathroom's gonna be on my right.
Okay.
Is there a demon
Look
here?
at my face.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that shit again. What? Did I just see that cat again?
Run?
The cat, it was in the bathroom.
Was it a black cat? I just read black.
It was in the, oh, you know how?
Meow?
Bro, it's just hanging out.
Meow?
So that's that.
That's
Did you hear
pretty
it?
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
cat's
And
like,
it was like,
hey, pet my belly, man. Like, stop
Right?
ripping off these spirits.
Where's my meow
on.
mix?
yeah,
Pet
that
my
nigga's
belly,
crazy.
give me some-
I
give me
was
some
saying
wet
meow
food.
the whole time. And that's the only time we've actually like acknowledged him. He's like,
That's
was
a
it
cat.
black? And I was like, yeah, it was black. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's
That's pretty
that
cool.
the Deer Estate.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool.
Wow.
That is cool.
There's sometimes like there's a fun thing where let me see, where's this one? Okay, so sometimes like people ask us if, or I like to ask people also if when they're doing paranormal investigations, if how can I say it? If the spirit like messes with you like while we're setting up. I had something like that happen.
Oh,
So I'll
Like
do
this-
it.
oh, you're gonna
How?
get me on camera later. I'm gonna get you now,
Yeah.
right? While they're not set up,
I'm
no
gonna,
one's
and
gonna
then-
believe you.
And then the second you
Yeah.
set up, I'm going ghost.
That's right.
Literally.
It would do that because it knows. Like this place we've been to 100 times. Like it knows me by now. So it's, of course it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything for you.
It's like Danny
You know.
Phantom.
So I'm here like setting up a camera there, and I have that little thing that's circled is the spirit portal that I
Mhm.
told you before. It's connected to the spirit box.
The honey tone with the noise gain and reverb. That's
Yeah.
it right there.
And right here in front of that old ass phone, there's like a K2 meter.
Are you
So
showing
you
us
see it
another
like
video?
light up.
I think you guys might need
Yes.
to.
You
Okay,
have,
yeah.
Oh,
to
crap.
you have to reshare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
Pick the
okay.
right one.
stop
Stop
sharing,
sharing?
and then do it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
No worries.
Okay.
We're gonna
Where
do this
are
as a team. We
Okay.
got it.
Share.
So, all right, let me figure that one out.
You know, Danny
See, I've never
Phantom,
done
he was
this.
just 14.
Okay.
His parents made a very strange machine.
Listen to you.
I got the Danny
Yeah.
Phantom theme song stuck in my head now. I put it in there by myself.
Okay,
Right,
here
now
we
we
go.
can see it.
So you see the spirit box, and then
Mhm.
that phone that's on the table. There's a K2 meter on top of there. You're gonna see it end up
Okay.
lighting up.
It's an old phone.
So I'm just setting up here. Ignore my crazy look. And that's been sitting there on that chair for a while. I was just leaving it there. I'm waiting for the guests to come in at this point.
Okay.
When I
It's
turned
already
around,
lighting up.
I noticed the K2 meter spiking, and then this.
So I come back, like it knocks it over, and so when I come back in the room, I see it's like knocked over. I'm like, really?
It's like, dude, why are you knocking over my stuff?
Right.
Just
Mad at you.
orb, actually. It's and I like talk to spirit like if it's a person. I'm like,
I know,
"Hey, would you
right?
just knock that over.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, man.
So the K2's lighting up. You see it.
Yeah. It's all blinking.
It's like taunting you. Yes, I did.
It was me.
At least it was honest.
It's me.
Man, I gotta redo that sticker on my recorder.
Can you make that light up again for me in the kitchen? I had a cat ball on that table,
Okay.
and it was responding to me like saying like it just knocked it down, and I'm like, okay, boom.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And so you see like the guest walking in there.
Yeah.
So,
does that
yeah,
just
we do,
pick up,
like-
EMF,
Oops, sorry.
and then it lights up when like the electromagnetic field changes, or like how does that work? The cat ball thing.
You have to physically like touch it.
Oh, so it's feeling
it's
something.
a cat ball.
It's literally a cat ball. It's a cat toy.
Oh, okay.
You have one
okay.
at your house. You should have one.
I do.
Yeah, if you have one.
Yeah, I have a toddler. This is
Same thing.
this is crazy. Yeah,
Both.
No,
It's a
I'm
cat.
talking about Zach because he has a cat.
he does
Yeah.
have cat. Yeah,
She's
Yeah.
right here
do you
sleeping.
have cat balls?
I do have cat balls. Yep. Not
What
cool because she's
we
a girl.
do sometimes in an investigation, we'll line up two, designate like a one for like the one on the left is no, and the one on the right is yes,
Mm.
and we'll ask questions, and sometimes they'll respond yes or no.
Sometimes they don't care.
Sometimes
This is gonna
they,
sound really stupid, but like, if you guys ever like dusted for fingerprints after that, just like wiped it down, set it down, and then like afterwards, like I
Yeah,
know,
no.
I know that's a stupid question, but like, could you imagine?
You know, one of the things I used to do back in the day, like, would be like the baking soda thing,
Mm-hmm.
where like say I'll put like a ball or
Yeah.
like a balloon or whatever, and then like put baking soda like on the front or the back,
Mhm.
and then like leave it. And if you see it like it had moved or like dragged out of those two little perimeters,
Right.
obviously it's like something.
Yeah.
what now that you guys just reminded me, there's an one of our teammates, her name's Marie. Marie, if you're out there, we love you.
We
But
love you
she
too.
showed me a trick She had a Hot Wheels, like a
Okay.
car,
Yeah.
and she put it like on a piece of furniture that had lines, but they
Mm.
were spread out. So like maybe two hands apart where the lines were.
Mhm.
So she put the car right before the line, and she put a camera there.
Mhm.
And she's like, let's see if spirit moves the car.
Mhm.
And later on in the night, she told us that the vehicle moved.
Not that
Yeah.
much though.
You saw it, but it was a lot closer to the line than it was before.
Mm.
She's like, I've done this before, and it was like over the line and things like that. So I was like, oh man, that's a cool little
Yeah,
trick
That's
that,
like
experiment.
you know.
old school method.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to show you. Did you see a couple weeks ago we had went to what was a women's correctional facility?
Yeah.
I
And
remember seeing
right
something
now-
like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to show that where I caught I think for sure. Okay, so when we go there, it's nothing. It's just like a field of grass, nothing.
It got
Okay.
tore down, essentially.
Yeah, there's nothing
all
there.
right.
And but when we have gone there, we have actually seen shadow figures come out of the grass, like literally walk on this path. Well, it used to be, I don't know, I guess like one of the driveways there.
Mhm.
And
It
right
was one of the service ways to help for deliveries and to leave out of the jail.
in
Okay.
the area where we're at is right next to would be death row.
Oh shit.
So
So it's like the last place they'd walk before they die. So you're saying?
yeah, exactly.
the Green Mile.
And since we've seen them with our own eyes, like come out or like run across. So it'll be like in that service road, field, it'll like run across.
Mm.
I like to like say like, hey, no, I'm gonna take a couple pictures. Can you come out for us? And that's what I did. The one I want to show you is that happened,
Okay.
and you can see it. I don't know if I could pause it,
That's
but
awesome.
you can see it outlined. That to me was like crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna do the share thing. He's like, do the share.
I got a story for you after this about a shadow person running across a field.
Ooh,
I
nice.
always wanted. Well, I wanted to ask you guys about like in the military. I'm pretty sure you see some crazy stuff.
This is a military related story for sure. I got two
okay.
for you.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Can you guys see that good or not? Because I can't.
it's loading. There it is. Yeah.
Oh, but it's like small, right?
It is.
It'll be
I
okay.
feel like you can make it bigger.
How?
I don't know. I've like I'm such a nerd. I've watched my own shorts on YouTube before, and like I feel like I've been able to like, but maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. Can you click it?
Maybe click on the 3 lines.
Oh.
They can't get too big.
Yeah. Yeah. Screw it.
Screw it, just play it.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
If you have ever investigated with me or
God,
followed
sorry.
me for a while now, you know that one of my favorite things to do while on an investigation is to ask spirits to show themselves on camera.
Sorry, you had
for
to
me,
hear my voice.
especially if I've been
Yeah,
to
look at
That's
that.
why you're here.
responses. What the spirits have done here before is come out from those thick bushes and onto the dirt road. Check this out.
Yeah, right there.
All right, so right here,
Yo.
like I had outlined it for you guys. Well,
Yeah.
for the video eventually, but one there, this one, and the
Spot.
pictures I took are in sequence. They were not there,
Yeah.
but in that one, that like it was probably the last one.
That's how it
There
looks
you
like
can see
without
it.
the outline.
Yeah,
It
Like you
definitely
see
looks
it
like a,
there.
like
Dude,
a
that
couple
absolutely
people.
almost looks like he's like a puffy jacket on almost too, or he's
yeah,
chunky,
like
chunk-
and he has.
right?
I
Chunky
feel like
dude.
I have like he has like his hand in his pocket or
I
something.
was just
Like,
gonna
I can
say
see
it's
the
like
two
this,
legs and
like
everything.
puffy. Yeah.
Yeah, and this
What are you doing
one
on my road?
over here in the field.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? Go back in your cell.
Exactly.
Property.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's wild.
That-
That's actually really
that could
good.
be a guard. That's why I was thinking
True.
it could be a guard.
Oh yeah.
Well, you want to tell him we've done EVPs there, and we've asked for their
Inmate number.
inmate number,
Mhm.
and they've gave us a sequence of numbers, and we've
Yeah.
actually tried to look it up, but some of the numbers are not.
I feel like we're missing the numbers. We're missing certain numbers, but yeah, like Jenny was saying, there's certain numbers that we couldn't make out what they were.
Have you
But they
guys
gave us a whole like roll of numbers.
have you guys ever read the book or listened to anybody talk about the book, The Siren Call of Hungry Ghosts before?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so like I'm gonna try to give like nutshell this for you. So essentially, there's these people that go and they are always going and meeting with this same medium, and this medium is telling them like they have all these spirit guides, and this is like a nonfiction story, like somebody writing about their real experience, and essentially this through the medium, these spirit guides are telling all these people this crazy stuff about their past, and there's all this history and there's like factual information, and they can confirm a lot of these factual information, but some of it is always just like off in ways that don't make sense. And so it when you said that about you're getting the numbers, but like you can't, well, if it's, I could just be totally out of left field here, but if you just can't hear the numbers, that's one thing. But I was going to say, like, the whole impetus of this book is that spirits can tell you factual information, but something has to like lie to you or give you something that is unfactual, so that they almost compromise themselves so they can't be used as a way to like predict the future, or like, I don't want to say predict the past because that doesn't make any sense, but you kind of get what I'm saying, that there's like an element of like trickster, or like they have to be minorly infactual. Like, do you guys ever experience that at all? Like, where you guys are trying to verify something, it's like, oh yeah, there was a Martha Jones, but like she didn't die in 1842. She wasn't even born until 1910 or whatever. You know what I mean? You guys ever experienced that? Like, why something might be lying to you, or if you feel like it's lying to you?
Yes, Paul Hammer.
Oh yeah,
Paul Hammer.
He immediately jumped on one.
That's literally probably the only time, because we've investigated like say a cemetery, and came across a lady who was murdered back in like, I don't even know, early 1800s, I guess. And she told me they told us, like, you know, the person who they accused of wasn't the person who like murdered her, and you know, stuff like that. And at that end up, I Googled it. I didn't know anything about this until after the fact. I was Googling it while I'm there, like in the graveyard, and and all that came out true. But yeah, Paul Hammer is a spirit.
Paul Hammer is a spirit that's in a location that we investigate called the Old Davie Schoolhouse.
Okay.
So there's the schoolhouse, which is the original school for Broward County here in South Florida. And behind the schoolhouse, there's two houses. That one is called the Veely House, and the other one is called the Osterhold House. Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of the name. But they were two sisters, and they had the homes, and one of them, she actually died, had a bad accident where she was driving, and she ran into like a train essentially.
Train ran into her.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, they were like wealthy, a family, because they had like a huge farm of like orange trees essentially. So that's how they were known for. But they had a friend that lived like across the street that he's known to be visiting the homes.
Okay.
He still, because since that was such a happy place for him, he goes back and he visits. So there was one time during an investigation, we were with our friends, Nadia, and Nadia is what, psychic, right?
She's a medium.
She's a medium.
Yeah.
So there was someone there was a spirit that I was communicating with, and we were thinking that it was Paul Hammer. And our friend Nadia goes, who? So Paul is a real spirit that you guys have communicated with in the past. Who you're communicating with right now is not Paul. It's something bad.
Yeah.
And it's something that's pretending to be Paul because he likes the attention that Paul gets.
Yeah, not that he's bad. He's an asshole.
Jealous.
Yeah, he's like a trickster or something like that. So then, literally, the very next EVP session that I do, the spirit was responding normal. Then Nadia tells us that. The very next series that I do of questions, I don't get any responses but yelling. That's all I got.
Because mad,
and
you
like-
know.
And basically, like, get her out.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the
literally
only
called her
clear
out.
thing, actually. Yeah, now that you mention it, that was the only clear thing that I got the rest of the night was tell her to leave. And then she's like, why do you want me to leave? And then it goes, she knows why.
Dang.
And that's it. That's the rest of the night. All I got was yelling into the recorders.
Another
Dude.
thing that happened there, but this is another time. But at this point, like now, I get that vibe from that spirit too. And then I'm like, in my head, I don't think that Paul Hammer person has even been there. Why? You know?
Yeah.
But the one that everybody, if you keep saying like, yeah, Paul Hammer, like I think you can whatever spirits want to manipulate and call themselves that because they want to communicate, they're going to say like, yeah, it's me or whatever. And those are your trickster spirits and they're just going to like give you whatever information you want to hear. One of the last times we were there, we were actually just there on Friday. We had an event there for like the public, but I wasn't in that house. I was in the house next door. But the time right before that, which has been almost a year, we had shown our friends there. We had some people that came into the event, but it was a friend of ours, and we were investigating that attic. That's the attic area where that person's at. And we were leaving, and I had mentioned it out loud. I was like, "Oh, the person that's here, it's not really Paul." And boy, he didn't like that. So we were leaving, and it was me going down this little rickety ass stairs. My friend
Whitney,
right
Shout
behind
out to
me.
Whitney.
And in between both of us, and then behind Whitney is Armando, and then somebody else. Right between both of us, but like right in both of our ears, I heard like a guttural growl, like never haven't heard that even there. And I was like, we both like stopped, and she was like, "Did you hear that?" And I said, we both said at the same time, a growl, like we both spit it out.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap! Like it was like,
Dude, that's
yeah, girl,
creepy.
leave. Yeah, and I was like, you're not scaring me out of here, bro. I was like, I'm leaving because I wanted to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not scaring me off.
Yeah, but so it's spirit like that. Yeah.
Right. You should definitely check out that book because that's kind of what it's like. Like
that'd be interesting.
As the time goes on, they realize that these spirits are lying to them, and like it manipulates their lives by telling them. Like one guy like falls in love with his spirit guide because he thinks they were like former lovers. But when they figure out that some of the story adds up but the other parts of it don't, like the spirits stop coming through the medium, or when they do, they're like trying to cover up their lies with more lies. And as they kind of decipher through like what's BS and what isn't, like they kind of realize that they're being manipulated by spirit. And it's kind of wild. It's like this whole, like, it was in the 80s, is this really long like shared experience all these people happen. But it's called the Siren Call of Hungry Ghosts. But if you experience, it sounds like you have experienced something like that, you'd probably find it really interesting because it's like super in depth.
Yeah, I would definitely like to read that.
Yeah. What we didn't want to take you away from what you were showing us. Sorry.
Oh,
you had more stuff.
When later after this, like write that title for me in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, because I have horrible memory. What? No. I'm trying to think. So I had. Let me go to the drive real quick. Okay. So there is something that we had went a couple weeks ago to the Heard Opera House. It's in Arcadia, Florida. And it was built in 1908, right? So while I do that, like explain the and I'm
history.
For this.
All right, so this it's the attack me and Macho Man. All right, so so this Arcadia, the Opera House. Well, now it's known as the Heard Opera House with the new owners, but it's in a city town called Arcadia. It's about, for my Florida residents, it's about a 20-minute drive, I would say, northeast of like Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, like 30 minutes in the same direction from like Fort Myers, Naples area.
Okay.
So like close to the West Coast. So this town was actually burned down in a fire, and only 3 buildings actually still are original. Everything was rebuilt again. For my big thing, like how Jenny was telling you, she's always wanted to do a hospital. My thing was I've always wanted to do a theater.
Okay.
So we actually had the honor of
Classic.
doing that, and that's awesome. This place, the Herd Opera House, with the new owners, they had been there, and they're fixing it up so that way they can have it for a paranormal like convention and to host groups to investigate the night there.
But they use it as like a music venue.
They
like,
use it as a music venue now. So if you're familiar with like the rock band Pearl Jam, they've had like tribute bands for. Well, you're from Seattle, so of course you know Pearl Jam. So they've had like tribute bands from like Pearl Jam and other rock bands like that there. So when we went, unknowns to us, that location had been kind of like messed up really bad with Hurricane Ian.
Okay.
Where Hurricane Ian blew out the windows, and due to the pressure of the winds going in, it actually tore down the back wall of the backstage.
Oh shit!
So they were not doing anything for a few months until they were able to repair the wall. So that wall is completely brand new. And they reopened to do that. But it was the 1-year anniversary of the hurricane. That night there was a really bad storm, and that night for the trifecta, full moon.
Yeah, that night that we didn't know. She was like, it was a 1-year anniversary like today, and I was like, oh.
Y'all went at the
Needless
right time.
to say, the energies there
crazy.
were bananas.
All right,
bet.
so
I'm ready.
okay, so
You did a good job hyping it up, hype man. I like it.
So here is real quick. You see the REM pod?
Yeah.
That I'm circling here. Okay, so the cat ball. Do you have one of these, Zach? That little cat ball right there?
Yeah.
Does it?
I've
Yeah,
seen
okay,
similar. Yeah.
All right, so I have it turned on. This was before I even put it on there, but just to take a picture. I had it sitting on top of here, on top of the REM pod, because normally Spirit manipulates that for some reason and not touch the stupid antenna on the REM pod. So I try to I'm trying to trick them, right?
They like cat toys.
So that's just to give you an idea of where the cat ball was at. It was on top of this device right here. Okay. So this is like what happened where everything.
You can still see the video, right? Or the screen?
Right?
Yeah,
You
see
see
the picture. Yeah, the picture.
Okay, so that's our buddy Joe that you see there in the screen.
No,
you're stuck on the picture.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Still had like the kick,
on
the
picture.
kick drum.
I'm gonna do it real quick.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now I'm gonna show you
back to drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So there's our buddy Joe that we've mentioned quite a few times tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So
he looks like he's
what's
about
happening
to have...
here is we were using we had walkie-talkies.
Okay.
Because we were setting up static cameras all over the place, and we only had 2 out. Like he was holding one, and the person at the like a control center with all the cameras was using the other one. The walkie-talkie was going off by itself. Like, you know how you have to press the button for like the whole like static thing to come out? Like it was doing that. Like, so you can, that noise that you're going to hear when I press play is that happening. And he was like, what the hell's going on here? And that's the first time that we've ever experienced anything like that. Okay. So we're like trying to manipulate the channel or whatever. Later on, we had a woman come out. Like, I was like, all right, maybe she's trying to come through that radio frequency, which normally is what they would try to do. And it was like, it was trying to say hi. Every time I was like, are you trying to communicate through the radio? Like, that's what ended up happening. Like, that static would like grow even larger. Like, it would be like louder. It would like really loud. So the room, you're going to end up seeing 2 camera angles. So this is like a static cam. And then I ended up taking out my phone because everything went like haywire, right? So here, just watch.
Enjoy our excitement.
Enjoy our excitement because we were going crazy when this happened. So we were like, what the hell's happening?
Well, that reminds me, I need to get a haircut.
So right there, when that loud bang was that cat ball
Mm.
getting knocked over
Okay.
from that device.
Yeah.
Jenny's the only one that saw it at
Yeah.
this point in time.
Yeah, there was a room that the light started flickering on and off, like crazy.
Mm.
This was like a
Dang.
complete haunted house. It was like weird as hell.
Yeah.
Wait. We were just setting up. We weren't even like
Just
investigating.
realized that he was in the line of the camera.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
why he moved. Luckily, this happened another 2 more times.
Wait. So you hear it going crazy, like the
Yeah.
static is just
Yeah,
like
really
building up
bad.
and building up. All right. So now you can see my camera view.
Yeah.
It did it again when I asked for it.
Yeah.
And you see it like lighting up.
Yeah.
So that room right there that's behind him,
Yeah.
that is a guitar room. That
Okay.
light in there was just going wow, on and off, on and off, on and off. And we can hear it like an actual switch going clink,
Like the
clink,
click,
clink,
click,
clink,
click,
clink, clink.
Yeah.
Pretty good video. You were asking if it likes you.
I'm sorry?
You were asking if it likes you.
Like if you like the energy that's in there
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
And yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Could never catch it. So I'm gonna walk up to it and go ahead and place it on top of that thing again. I don't know why it was just going crazy. Anyways,
It
yeah.
just did not want that cat ball.
Yeah, I was
No.
like, no, get out of here.
That's go. Hey, that's
And
wild.
the neat thing about that room, that we call the guitar room, because it's on both walls, they have guitars from
Mhm.
all of the acts that, just donated their guitar, didn't want it. It's there, including the very last guitar that was used before the hurricane,
Mm.
when they were fixing it up, like the last show that was done.
Right.
No, not from there. That was when they stopped using the theater. Period.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that guitar was like sitting there for like 40 years, abandoned
Mhm.
Oh wow.
inside of that theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1940 something, and it was that. So that building was abandoned. I don't know, maybe like a good 40 something years.
Yeah.
And that guitar was on stage,
Okay. Dang.
and they have that guitar like sitting in that room, and the owners tell us that they get like activity in there all the time.
that
Just
what
hear it
the
playing.
owners tell us is that
Yeah,
particular
they hear it
guitar.
actually.
They hear the
Ding.
strings.
Yeah,
Yeah. Boom.
Just starts
that place is
playing
wild. That
Raining
place is,
Blood by
I
Slayer.
mean, crazy.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and another thing that happens there in relations to music. So for some reason they were listening to Black Sabbath, but I forget this particular song. In that video, you saw a chandelier there.
Okay.
That chandelier does not have power to it. In that particular song, I don't remember the name of the song right now, but when that song was playing, one of the light bulbs on the chandelier got electricity and was lit up.
Like it lit up. It was the
one that was closest to the
facing
stage.
the stage.
Facing the stage.
That's like a subtle nod to I like this song.
Yeah.
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 Is the ghost's way of lighting the lighter.
Dude, yeah, it's the lighter in the crowd, dude.
Lighter.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that. There it is.
Nice.
That's what it is. That's what we're gonna go
And
with.
That chandelier, it's kind of like it's kind of like made out of the pointer, like the candle with like the flame wick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it
That's what
it
it's
is.
for.
So it kind of reminds, like how
you
you're
can't
saying with the
convince me
lighter.
otherwise.
It looks
I don't even
just
care
like
if that
that.
spirit
Yeah,
tells
that's
you otherwise.
That's
the
it.
spirit's lying to you.
Yep.
They were Aussie fans. Hey,
Right.
that's what it is. Sharon.
Tell me what you
Yeah, what's your story,
your
Brandon?
experience that you were saying.
Well, I got two. I'll tell you. Like, I'll tell them back to back. So when I was in Montana, I was stationed in Montana for a really long time, and one night I was on patrol, me and a friend, and we got dispatched to this house. And the call came in more like a health and welfare check. And when we got there, the lady was like, "Hey," she was standing in her driveway, right? And dark outside, cold outside, just standing in her driveway. We get there, pull up, and we're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she tells us, she's like, "Look," she goes, "I just want you guys to sweep my house." She's like, "I know there's nothing in my house." She's like, "This isn't the first time this has happened." And she's like, "But I just need to feel safe." And I'm like, "Okay, like what happened?" You know? And so she's like, "Well, let's just go inside." And she's like, I can show you. And I'm like, "Okay." So she's there alone because her husband is posted out for a few days, right? So he's not home. And she says that this happens when he's gone mostly. And like I said, it's like early morning. And she was sitting on the couch watching TV, and her dog got up off the floor, started barking, and ran at their back door. The back door was like mostly glass, and there's like 2 steps down that went on the patio and then the yard. And she said that, she got up thinking, well, I'll let the dog outside. Maybe there's a rabbit or something like that in the backyard. Just let him out. And she stands up off the couch, kind of goes around the end and starts walking towards the door. And she said that there was this face looking up at her from they would have to have been like laying down on the steps, like looking up. And she said that it was not like a person. She said it was just malevolent and evil looking. And she freaked out, and the dog started barking like where the face was, and then it just kind of disappeared on her. And she's like, there's no one in my house, no one came in here. She's like, but like I need to feel safe to go to bed. And so like just doing our due diligence, like we went out in the backyard, like went on the other side of the fence up to the base perimeter wall just to check for, went through her house, nothing was there. And she's like, thanks. She's like, I just didn't know what to do. She's like, and I'm home alone with my dog. And she's like, that terrified me. And that was like the first time I ever had something paranormal happen. And it didn't really happen to me. It happened to somebody else. But I literally got dispatched for a ghost in somebody's backyard or something. Yeah. But one night, again, this is when I was in Montana, a friend of mine, we were posted together and trying to think of how to describe where I work without giving away state secrets. It's a secure facility outside, right? And it's just we'll just say it's a storage area. And anyway, so we're sitting there together in this Humvee, and we're playing cards, and we felt like something jumped on top of the Humvee. Okay, and the way we're parked, there's these buildings. They like kind of look like storage lockers, like you'd go to like a personal storage. And we thought immediately that somebody was messing around with us, because these Humvees are tall enough to where, like, if you parked on the opposite side of us, you could go through the turret and you're close enough to the roof to where you get out and just like step up onto the roof and walk across. And so initial thought was like, oh shit, like boom, like this, like the whole Humvee shook. And we both jumped out and there was nothing up there on top of the Humvee. And so I immediately like backed up away so I could see the top of the building and like look down both of these, like, there's really long corridors in between these buildings. And there's no way somebody could have jumped on the Humvee, got back on top, and like we would have heard it. We would have seen somebody take off running. So we were like, fuck this, and drove away. And so we drove like the opposite side of the storage area, and we park, and then we just see this like looks like a black mass moving all the way across, like the grass, gravel, grass, gravel, grass, gravel, and go like up underneath this really old radio tower. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, is there somebody there? Like, but it was like moving way fast, like faster than somebody could, like at a dead sprint run. And so we drove over to this old radio tower, and up underneath it was like the circuit board, and it was wide open, and the lock was off and everything, just open. And we're like, that's it. Like, done. Driving. You can't leave this fenced in area. So like, we're in here with whatever the hell is in here. Yeah, that was really, really strange. But I've had like experiences before in the same area where like we would get like alarms for places that didn't have people in them, but like doors and stuff like that would open to set those alarms off, and you could see them open on camera. And they would just open and they close, and they set these alarms off. And you just, for no reason. And these are like super heavy. You have to push on them, knobs, panic hardware, stuff like that. Like, and yeah, so there's a lot of really weird stuff on bases. And if you talk to people that have posted, like, will post out to like some of these more secure facilities, that say that they have a lot of stories too, especially like Native American stuff. Are you guys experiencing something in your house right now as we're talking?
Yeah, we just heard something.
Some shit just knocked over, dude.
It sounded like something
I heard that
just
too.
fell.
Let's
You
invest.
did?
Let's invest. Yes,
You heard it?
I did. I thought, to be honest, like I thought it was like Kuma in Zach's.
It sounded like something small
Not
fell.
me. I was muted
but
the whole time.
It wasn't us. You guys were perfectly still.
Yeah, nothing fell.
I don't
Nothing
know.
fell
I
in
was
here. Whatever was screwing.
Something fell on you?
No. I said it was nothing in here.
No.
No, nothing.
And I was muted.
Oh no, I
so
can't. It literally was like right next to me.
It wasn't
Yeah.
Kuma.
Well, either that or it could have been the next door neighbor, because we have
That wasn't here. I
I don't know.
we're trying to make it not be here.
Right.
It was totally here.
What?
No, right now I'm doing this.
Oh,
because
Whatever was
But that
screwing
wasn't
with
that.
me like 13 years ago is now back to screw with you.
Brandon,
Go to Brandon's house immediately.
No, don't go. No, my wife will kill us both.
Brandon's
Don't make me bust out with the Uno reverse card.
Exactly right. Yeah. Just
Ghost follow
push it
that.
over. reverse.
Push it on to Zach. He needs more evidence to believe in this
He
stuff.
needs
For sure.
experience.
I
He
do.
does.
I do believe in ghost stuff. I just haven't had a lot of experiences. The only real time I've only ever had 2 times. I've talked about both of them on here, but the one that kind of gets me, and I'm going to actually show a video of the ghost that I think I experienced. Is
this in Okinawa?
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's a gate called Gate 6, and it's like it's off base, and it's a gate. So you go out one gate to leave the base to go back in another gate to go to a housing area that's like away from the base.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working nights. I was there alone, and it's like real early in the morning, like 2-3 o'clock, and I kept like nodding off. You don't get like no traffic there, so you could go like honestly 4 or 5 hours of your shift and don't see anyone. And so I was like starting to nod off, and I'm pretty sure I did kind of like half fall asleep. I'm not gonna say full fall asleep because that's bad, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep or half fell asleep, whatever. And in my like kind of half sleep or whatever, someone whispered in my left ear, like, "Hey, wake up, someone's coming," or like, "Hey, get up," you know. And the second I heard that, I look up and a car just happens to be coming and turning, and it was my flight chief. So that ghost
Saved your
Up, yeah.
ass.
was making sure I was
Well,
okay. So it woke me up, and
That could have also been your spirit guide.
You know,
too.
they do say like that's, yeah,
yeah.
that.
But so that I didn't know anything about like a ghost being at Gate 6. I remember I was telling someone a couple weeks later. He's like, "Oh, there's like a ghost at Gate 6," and like other
You can
people.
YouTube it.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up and show it to you
Oh,
guys.
wow.
So, other people have also talked about like there being a ghost there. I've had other defenders when I was at Kadena there say that like someone will walk up, like they can see someone walk up to the gate, and then they will go out the door, and then there's no one there. And then
This
they're
is like, I just want to say that like the ghosts at Kadena are well known. Like if you go talk to somebody who's in the Air Force, they know. But it's one of those things that kind of transcends the branches. Like Marines know Kadena is haunted. Sailors know Kadena is haunted. Soldiers know Kadena is haunted. Yeah.
So this is the video I'm going to show you. So
Oh yeah.
Right here's the right. So this is the front of the gate shack, this little triangle thing. And right back here's the gate shack. So the main base is to the left. To the right leads down a road that goes actually to like a cemetery. So it's actually kind of like creepy in that sense too.
Oh, wow.
But it's just pitch
Okay.
black. There's nothing else out here. So
I just want to say, Zach, real fast, this comment right here at the bottom says it's easy to tell a lot of spooky videos on YouTube are fake, but this one gives me the chills. It looks 100% real, and the fact that it's recorded by base CCTV gives it a lot more credit. I just want to say, as somebody who has spent an ample amount of time watching videos on CCTV for base security, that 90% of the people that did have no idea how to manipulate anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't like take
stored
this video
somewhere else. You can't take it with you. Like it's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
And so like the fact that he's right, you can't dick with this video at all. Like so.
So in this video, so you can kind of see it already. So this is where they're saying the spirit is this weird shadow. And it is weird because there's a spotlight right above here, which should be illuminating this metallic sign. So because there's a shadow from the light source, which is now lighting up this whole area, is already very strange. So when I play this, you're going to see it kind of move a little to the left. And then apparently in the video, you won't be able to see it or hear it because there's no audio. But the guard notices someone and walks out. And the second the guard walks out, which you won't see, the ghost realizes and it runs away. And it'll run across to the right and then down the street towards the cemetery.
No way.
So I'll just play it here.
Yeah.
So it's right here. It's going to move a little to the left. And then it's going to run across. So there it moves to the left. And then once a couple seconds later, the guard's going to realize that something's like there. And then it's going to bounce. It's going to run right over the arrow there. And there it goes. And it runs away.
Wow.
Zach, no way, dude.
That's crazy.
No way.
No, that's like legit.
And this is this
That's
is the
not
same.
even the only video I've seen.
No.
There's one where like keeps like running up to the shack. It almost looks like it's like taunting.
Yeah. So and that's I can't. That video is hard to find. I don't know.
It
why.
is hard to find. Yeah.
But it's the same gate, and that's the one where people say, and it's always it's an elderly Asian man, and he walks down this like road, and he comes over, and he will like walk up and like walk back and forth, and then he'll leave, but he never like comes through. So I'll stop sharing.
I wonder what is he doing? You know, like,
some
why?
people think that he's like an old like World War II guy.
I was gonna say,
he's like
yeah, like-
coming up to challenge the Americans or something. Who knows?
Occupying Japan.
Yeah. So I'll share this one too.
Battle of Okinawa was.
Yep. Yeah. So this is a Marine barracks. This is 2012. Okay.
That looks creepy.
Yeah. So
I got vibes.
Tell you about barracks.
You can see right here.
Automatically, it looks kind of.
They're all sketch.
So this dorm, just so you're aware, it was condemned. Like they never use this. No one lives in this. Okay. Even to the time of recording, no one lives in this. And this building's actually eventually been torn down. It doesn't exist anymore. But what we're going to see, our little spirit or whatever, is going to be down the hall. It's going to be right here. And so when I press play, you're just going to kind of see something kind of come around the corner and go down the hall. And it like fits with all the lights and stuff. It's kind of creepy. So it goes kind of quick. So just look right there down the hall. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Saw it.
And it walks all the way down the hall and then goes. It's kind of hard to see, but it goes all the way down.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just leaves. It just goes away.
Like it phased through.
Kind of like
It did.
yeah.
Yeah.
It comes right around the
Over there,
corner and just
whatever.
walks away.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff on Okinawa. We have these contract guards, CGs. They're just Japanese locals who work for the Air Force to help us with like translations and other stuff. And there's a munitions area. It's huge. There's a gate out there that's only manned by the contract guards, and it's just a random gate where like trucks come through sometimes, but they still have to have someone out there at night. And there was a contract guard that was out there who apparently like on the radio asked for help and was like freaking out, saying that someone was attacking him. And then he shot at something, which is really weird because one, we're trained only to like shoot like in last minute situations. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
you fire your weapon, like you had to be really scared. So he fired his weapon, his pistol at something, and when finally all the other cops showed up to the area, it's really far out there too, in the middle of nowhere. They get out there. He had fired all his ammunition and shot himself. So he had shot all his rounds, and then on his last bullet decided to kill himself. Yeah. And
Yeah, it's
he was
fucking
asking,
terrifying,
he was
dude.
asking for help and everything in both Japanese and English, and just no one got to him soon enough or whatever was there.
This is like
I
some
guess-
yokai,
Did anybody
yokai
ever
shit,
like
bro.
think like what he saw?
No idea.
Anybody ever suspect anything?
There was no evidence of like really anything there except for him. So there's really no way to know.
Well,
Yeah, Okinawa was weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This is some weird experiences too. Like when I was in Germany, one night we were driving out of the gate going into like the German economy. And it looked like somebody was walking up the road, like on the side, like towards the gate, which is not uncommon because a lot of people were close enough to like the German bars, so they'll just like walk from on base to off base and back, so they don't have to, get a taxi or worry about getting a DUI. And just as we're passing, this person looks like they just fall forward like a domino and hit the ground. So we're like, what the fuck? Like that's really weird, and that we have to stop, if this person just like passed out, stop, got out, went, like looked around, flashlights, like trying to find this person. No one was there, but everybody saw this. It looked like a guy, like a young guy, just walking, boom, face plant, like a sack of potatoes. And but no one was there. And I don't know if that was a ghost, or if like that somebody actually fell, but there's a lot of people that have experiences, especially like, I'll say this, a lot of the army bases that are in Germany exist on old Wehrmacht bases. So that like the Nazi military, and they've just like gone through and like etched off all the like the swastikas and stuff like that. Like it's kind of cool because they are all like World War II era buildings. But a lot of those we'll talk about, kind of how we were talking about like Gettysburg before, where you'll hear like marching and stuff like that they'll hear marching, or they'll see people in like SS uniforms and stuff like that. So
There was
military,
That is so
military's
neat.
kind of full of
When it comes to like
stuff
the
that.
military and like paranormal, I think
Mhm.
that's like
Mhm.
that's so cool. I don't
There
know.
was a
Yeah.
house. There was a house on Kadena Air Base. It was building a 2283. I just looked it up real quick to get all my facts right. They eventually tore this down. They tore this down while I was there. So like in between 2012 to 2015. And there was 3 separate occasions. So in the military, when you're overseas, most of the times you live on base. You can live off base, but most times they try to keep you on base. And so, military families are living in the base, but 3 separate times in like the span of like 40 years, 3 different families, it was like a murder-suicide where the military member, and it only happened in this house, the military member would freak out, kill his whole family, and then kill himself. It happened 3 separate times in the same house. They eventually like condemned it. No one else could live it anymore. But I guess security forces members, you have to still like go check buildings and that type of stuff. And they would go check it to make sure no one's like breaking in or doing weird stuff. And there was even times where like the security forces members would be there and they'd be like, when I'm in that building, like I don't feel right. Like I feel like I need to like kill you, my partner, or kill myself. So they like stopped going there and they tore it down. And still to this day, there's a building which is like hotel for like on base. There's the field's empty. There's a building right next to it, and people say they can like hear screams or gunshots or random stuff coming from the field. And it's like just a known real bad spot. People have even said they've seen like samurai on horses like run through the field, and they can hear them and stuff. So the Japanese said that there actually was that area of Gideon Air Base is apparently a historical site for a massive battle, to where like two shoguns and their samurais like fought each other. So there's death then, and then World War II and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's probably just a very big death spot. But yeah, it was building 2283 for anyone who wants to look it up. Very spooky house.
I don't want to say what base it is because there are people that still live there. But one of the bases that I've been stationed at, there were 3 suicides with 3 different families in the same house. I know it seems to be like a weird thing, but I actually had been to one of those, but it was the first one. And the whole time that I was there, there was another and then another after that. And I don't know if they just never told anybody or whatever, but they just keep moving people into the house. I would be curious if shit still happens there, but it seems pretty wild. Yeah, I don't know, but it's the same address. And I even told one of my friends after I left, I was like, this house, this is the address, what street, like, pay attention. It's just really weird, but
jeez.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that's still, you say you know somebody that's still, they're still there, right?
Well,
like,
I know that they still move people into that house. And like, I don't want
no, but I'm saying, like, has anything else happened?
There was somebody living there when I left. I have no idea. I would have to like look it up or like see if it made the news. But I'll say this: if stuff like that happens on military bases, like if it's a murder suicide, it'll probably make the local news. But just like a suicide, it's not going to make local news for sure. Like the military does a really, really good job of like kind of keeping that stuff close to the vet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's Anyway, wow. I'll say this. What the story that I told you guys about when I was in Montana, seeing that black shadow running across the field, I'll tell you more after we stop, give you guys some more context for sure. sorry people listening. Yes.
Yeah. Top secret.
That's right. Oh yeah, totally. Not even. But anyway, do you guys have any more?
Need a Yankee white clearance.
Not even. Zach's over here just using shit. No one knows what the hell he's talking about.
100%. Brandon knows.
Yeah.
I know.
I know. Yeah.
They don't know.
Anyway, no, it's okay. But now that we've, totally been nerds on here with our military colloquialisms and acronyms and shit.
Jargon.
Do you guys have any more evidence that you guys had pulled up? Don't want to like cut you off on what you're showing us.
No, you're good. I probably have like 2 more.
Okay.
One is a funny one. It's like, and it's real short. It's a clip of, I don't know. I kind of find it funny. I don't know why, but we were doing another portal session. We were at an original cemetery down in Homestead, Florida.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know until after, when I'm looking at the footage or whatever, Armando comes to find out he didn't feel good or something. But
his spirits tend to mess with him.
The spirit had mentioned it. Huh?
His spirits tend to mess with him a lot.
Yeah, like, well, they know. I mean, it's crazy. And it asked, they're like, is he feeling good? And then one of our friends was like, what? But we can tell something was being said, but the sweep was so fast. So when I go back and look at the footage, like I slow it down and you can hear it.
It's like, why are you obsessed with me? Why are you so obsessed with me?
It's so many things.
Yeah. Mariah Carey.
Ghosts they wanna know.
Ghosties wanna know.
That's right.
Exactly.
Getting on by EVPs.
So he's walking away. So did you hear it?
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
For some reason, my ankle was bothering me. It was my ankle and my heel. And I had to like sit down.
Probably from
And
stunning
it's
on all these
weird because
ghosts.
I always wear like these pair of Vans shoes, but for some reason it was bothering me that night, and I had to sit down. But yeah, that's what it's saying there.
I think I slowed it down here.
Bro, Armando feeling good.
About Veston.
Dude,
Yeah, and I'm here like asking some other question. I was like
Right.
trying to figure out some like
Yeah.
tomb lady over here.
dude, that makes me
Because
think
Armando
if
feeling
like
good. I was like,
that ghost was fucking with you and he's just like asking ironically.
Yeah.
isn't that crazy?
Kicked you in the shin. Is Armando feeling good?
No, man.
Yeah, I threw my
You
shin.
see me doing
the
the
one that
Peter
caused
Griffin here on the
Right.
on the grass.
Exactly.
Peter Griffin.
Right. Yeah.
He's on the floor like this.
The ghosts are like, I don't get that reference. Good. Good. Yeah.
That's your damn fault.
That's right. Shouldn't have died.
At the time you
Big
did.
head. Big head.
Our TVs have color in them now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And the
What's a
last one
TV?
I'm going to show you is the same place as the Deering Estate.
Mhm.
And I don't think it was the same night as the cat. I think this was another night. Was it?
Oh, okay. So this was for another forensics class.
Yeah, we're still doing a class thing though.
So they had us like they couldn't do it all in one night. So they had us there like in different nights for a couple weeks. So this was another night.
Yeah,
And
I
our
definitely
friend
don't even think
was,
it the same night.
Ernesto was with us again.
Yeah. So to tell you what happened, up the stairs, you go around the thing, and you go up the stairs again, and right to the right as you come up those stairs was Mr. Deering's room and his library.
Mhm.
So back then, like they had like separate bedrooms.
The husband and the wife didn't sleep.
Yeah, they were like,
together.
I mean, this thing is a huge mansion. So
Nowadays,
going
we
into
can't
his
afford that,
library?
'cause I snore like a lion, and she just hits
oh my
me.
god,
Two
Yes.
bombs, right?
She would probably love it if we had separate rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she's saying, back in those days, they had separate rooms,
Yeah.
and he had a study.
A study.
Essentially.
Okay.
And then we found out that night that he painted. So
Oh.
we were like, yeah, we don't know anything about this crap.
Yeah, it was awesome painting. It was like a ship on the ocean.
Okay.
No, the painting was like a portrait. You're talking
Actually.
about. Actually,
Yeah.
what
no,
happened?
Well, the
she
one
said-
on the right.
No, yeah.
The one on the right, you'll see it.
We will see.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
god.
How many years have we been
Now I'm
married?
gonna ask: is Armando feeling good?
Is Armando
Can't
feeling
remember.
You don't need to worry.
Yeah.
Spirit's worried.
Right.
All right, so we were just trying to get like, so there's the two DRs, the recorders are
Yeah.
right there on that table,
Mhm.
and we were just asking questions, and he was looking. That's what the ship you were talking
The ship,
about.
right?
There's a little painting in there, and he, but
That's where I was looking at.
Okay.
the big ass portrait that's
And then-
on the right hand side is
You're
what we're
good.
gonna go to
You're good now.
afterwards when we
After.
see something.
Yes.
And he was asking about a ship or something in there. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you recognize the name.
Yeah,
of the ship.
because there's like a little
it was a model or something.
there's
right?
just like a little thing that it says, kind of like a brief description of what it is.
Mhm.
And so I can explain a little bit more. The Deering estate. So this gentleman, he had kind of like a dock for like boats to be able to come up to the house directly,
Mhm.
but he didn't have a lighthouse.
Okay.
So what he did of this particular, it was the Richmond cottage and the
Stonehouse.
stone house. So not in the Richmond house, which is where Mr. Deering and Mrs. Deering's rooms were.
Okay.
It's in the other housing area there. The whole upper floor, it was just lit up with one light switch, but they would
Okay.
use that as the lighthouse.
Okay.
So it
Kinda
would
like
help
improvise a little
to
bit.
yes.
It's a huge bay in the back. I mean, energy there is wild too.
Yes.
So okay, here we go. So so Ernesto, I was trying to say, Ernesto comes up the stairs, and when he passes this study, he thought he saw like a shadow move across the wall.
Okay.
And he tells us, and then whenever all the kids like leave or whatever, we go into this room, and we want to ask about it. So I'm like, who was the person or the shadow that Ernesto saw? That's what I'm gonna end up saying.
Okay.
Who did Ernesto see in this room? Whose shadow?
What is the USS Alert?
I'm gonna fast forward that question. That's funny. All right, so I'm gonna go to
Those cat balls. Those ghosts.
those
glow.
cat. I'm telling you, those cat ball lit.
It's so weird.
So
Touch
literally lit.
activated. Can't see shit.
yeah, so you saw nobody was touching the table or anything.
Right.
Yeah, we're far enough.
So we're like, oh man, he paints and all this crap, and then we're reading the thing. The boys go up to the painting that Armando's like shining a light on, and
Mhm.
and so I stay behind where Ernesto's at right now, and I'm starting reading. I was like, oh yeah, he did paint this. Wasn't even paying attention. I have just my camera in my hand, but I'm not pointing at the wall. I'm not even pointing at. I'm not trying to purposely point or film anything at this point. I'm like reading. We're just there, like reading and just
And
doing our own thing. And
by the stroke of luck,
yeah, I happen to catch something like on the wall, like how he saw it. So I don't know if maybe that's a residual thing. Who knows? So I just move over and I start like reading it myself.
Oh,
Oh, he
Just
shadow goes from right
just
to left.
popping by.
he
Just popping
he
by.
paint, yes. Because this one, he
Yeah, and
whatever.
I didn't know that until I'm like looking at it. And I was like, oh yeah, he used to paint. Like, oh, that was because it was a
Just
nice.
coming back to make
picture.
sure Armando's
I know,
still
just
okay.
don't mind me. Just enjoying the art.
Yeah, so that I thought that was like really cool. That's
That
that's
is
the
cool.
first time I ever caught shadow on any like on camera like that. Like was that? And I've never had caught anything like that before. And then
'Cause this one,
you see how loud it is? Like everybody's downstairs. All the kids are like getting prepped of like they're saying, I guess they're telling them like what they're gonna be experiencing, and we're upstairs waiting on them. And what else?
No.
Where am I going with that?
actually, that was the end of the night. So they were meeting up to leave.
Yeah,
So
I
then
think
we
that's
were
why
just
that's why we
like
had moved
doing
over
our
anyways.
own thing before they kicked us out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. But that was the same room that he had seen something initially in the first place.
Yeah.
And we had talked about it. We're like, all right, let's go back in there and just see what we get. Like, who was it that he saw?
Hmm.
And then I ended up catching it like that. So the cat was like, I'm here like this. I'm like reading a thing.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah. Just random.
Yeah.
And I had to like show it to him like a few times. I'm like, yo, what do you think about this? Because I don't like to. I always do that. Like, I always like show him or I show another friend of ours. Like, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Before I even put anything out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to look crazy. But
It's going
like,
back to the very beginning of this where I was saying
always trying to
we
debunk.
spend a lot of time debunking
Yeah.
to make sure
That's good.
whatever we throw out
Mhm.
is legit. You can count on it. If it's out there, it's good. Because what I tell people with paranormal investigating, and I kind of blame this on the microwave society that we live in, it's instant gratification.
Mhm.
And you watch Ghost Adventures, and these guys throw out a 42-minute episode, and it's like a bunch of evidence.
Mhm.
But what people tend to forget is they're at the location sometimes 8 or 9 hours,
Right.
like on a quick trip. Sometimes they're there like a couple days.
Mhm.
So I tell everybody is when we go to investigate, we're going to have fun and hope to God that we
Yeah.
get something. So I kind of equate it to the experience of going fishing. So you're not going fishing to go and catch fish. Obviously you are, but you're going to get away, to have fun, whatever, just to take a break from reality for a bit, just like watching TV or whatever.
Right.
And if you catch fish, like, great, that's awesome. You weren't guaranteed to catch fish; you just happened to get something. That's how pretty much sum up what paranormal investigating is. We're not guaranteed to get evidence all the time, and if we do, awesome.
Good way to put it.
I like that. It is. It's a good analogy. Sometimes it's just about the trip.
Yeah.
And the time. Absolutely.
This trip's coming to an end.
Yes.
Are you guys going on another big investigation before Halloween or for Halloween?
Actually, for a Halloween weekend, so we'll be going back up to that jail. We have been there after the fact, but that one day he had that experience. So that's in Trenton, Florida. The name of the jail is called Gilchrist Old
County Gilchrist Jail.
Okay.
Old Gilchrist County Jail. There you go. And
we got that.
the owner just recently got the papers. He'll be getting it officially in November, but he was trying to make it a historical site like this whole time.
Okay.
Like this past year, he's been working really hard on that.
Yeah.
And I think they granted it.
That's awesome.
He was given the okay by the state of Florida through Tallahassee, and it's an exciting thing. And
so he does like a Paracon there, and so we're going up there for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we get to speak. Our team pretty much is one of the headliners that we get to like speak to all the other guests and other teams and things like that. He has a rock band that goes, and it's a good time.
That sounds fun.
Like hangout time.
Sounds fun.
We like it because we get to meet other people within the state or not that far away, and just to see pointers. Maybe they know of things that we don't know. Kind of like a different perspective or a way to see something.
Yeah.
And the other way around. Like sometimes people ask us, and we're open book. We don't mind helping people out.
You can tell you guys are for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good
you.
thing. Yeah. You guys seem really genuine. That's all I mean.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, we try. We try our best.
Well, you heard something fall here, so
we did, right?
When we hang up,
they're like, she pulled on the fishing
I'm still
wire.
trying to figure it out because it was like right here. I'm like,
Yep.
oh.
Yeah. It was attached to the
I'll
mouse.
see what it is
Right?
after.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have a
make sure
mouse.
you guys. Oh, I stand corrected. Yeah.
I hope
Make sure you guys tag us in that stuff, and we'll share it on the page so everybody listening can check you guys out. And make sure you guys go and check out 305 Paranormal. Head on over to. You said you guys have a YouTube. You guys have a website?
No website, just Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Instagram,
Yes.
TikTok, and YouTube. Make sure you guys head on over
And
there.
you can catch me on Mr. 305
Mr. 305
Paranormal on IG.
Definitely don't miss out on Mr. 305 Paranormal. I need to go add him.
It's worldwide.
He's Mr. Worldwide. Right, exactly.
Well,
Mr. Worldwide.
that's the thing, though.
Exactly.
So he's Armando, just like me.
Oh, for real?
Talking about Pitbull.
Yeah. I didn't know. Okay.
I know Mr. Worldwide.
Pitbull. His real name is Armando Perez.
I thought it was Pitbull.
My government is Armando Gonzalez, but I just go as Mondo because
Government.
yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, everybody knows me as Mondo or Mr. 305 Paranormal.
Word.
So that's me. There I talk sports. My Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, okay.
My Heat, they get to they're very close to winning the NBA Finals all the time. So I hope that we get it done this year. My Panthers getting there as well. Inter Miami, we just signed the best soccer player in the world.
All day, so you want to talk sports?
No, I'm down because
The
it's okay.
Marlins-
He's a Hurricanes fan,
the
I'm a
Marlins are
Seminoles
just the
fan, and
Marlins
I
of-
got to feel bad for him a little bit. So
At least this year, the Dolphins are putting out their quarterback while he's still concussed. So
right,
at least that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but I hope to God if we're ever in the Super Bowl on the 1 yard line, we decide not to pass and run it in with the best running back in the league.
Did
That's
that
fair.
hurt a little bit?
It does, but
Is
out of
Zach
both-
all
Come
right?
on, man.
out of
Is
both
Zach-
of these
Come
teams,
on.
who's the
You
most
guys were
active
playing
for
the
this-
I
Patriots.
know. Is Zach
We-
Is that
okay?
good?
Is Zach feeling good?
We-
Yeah.
You guys were playing the Patriots. You
Notice his arms
do
got
know
crossed.
that all of Miami was rooting for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, man.
And you let us down.
That's fair.
You guys let
That's
us
fair.
down.
And that
A
did
rookie
happen.
picked your team off.
But out of the Dolphins and the 49ers, at least we have a Super Bowl win in our lifetimes.
Well,
I think the Dolphin Stadium is cursed.
it is. Did you know that?
No, seriously.
Yeah.
That's fine. My favorite sport is actually basketball. So
I wanna
the
hear
Heat
why
have
it's
given me
cursed.
3 NBA Larry O'Brien trophies here in beautiful South Beach.
Well,
Thanks.
I'm a Magic fan, so why is it cursed?
You
There's
guys
that.
had
And
Shaq
that's our
for a
episode.
little bit.
Exactly. All right. We had Dwight Howard a long time ago.
You had Shaq, and we won with him.
It's true. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't follow. They let me down so much. I thought the magic is gone. I'll just put it that way. Yeah. But
That's
all
the
right.
one.
Make sure you head on over to 305 Paranormal. Give them a like, subscribe. Sure you head on over to I Came With Fire. You can find us, as you guys know, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also have a website, though we don't get any traffic. But yeah,
You could be our
Appreciate you.
first traffic.
you could be our first. Yeah. Thank you to Ginny and Armando for coming on with us, for giving us all the spooks. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you for having us.
100%. I really enjoyed it. Would totally have you guys on again next time. You guys go some time, get some new investigations.
Yeah.
We'll put it up. Hell yeah.
We'll have some more stories for you.
I like it. All right. Everybody have a good night.
What's going on, Fire fans? I Came With Fire podcast is sponsored by Red Clover Coffee and Sheep's Clothing LLC. Red Clover Coffee is a veteran-owned company with small batch roasted coffees, and they just happen to donate to some pretty awesome charities. Whether you're into specialty flavored coffees, single source coffees, or having a really cool coffee mug and some badass slaps, Red Clover has you covered. You can order ground, whole bean, or even coffee pods and get it all at 10% off your entire purchase using coupon code CAMEWITHFIRE. Again, that's 10% off your entire purchase using our coupon code CAMEWITHFIRE. I personally love their Blueberry Invasion and African Roast. That Blueberry Invasion hits the spot. Head over and get yourself some awesome coffee and support us by supporting our sponsor. I Came With Fire podcast is also sponsored by Sheep's Clothing LLC. Sheep's Clothing LLC is a unifying banner for all violent arts, disciplines, professions, and survivors of violent circumstances. Redefine violence. Both Zach and I being survivors of violent circumstances and LEOs in the military, we are especially excited to be able to offer you 10% off your entire purchase with coupon code FIRE10 at checkout. Whether you're looking for an awesome t-shirt, hats, slaps, flags, or MMA gear, they've got you covered. Me personally, I love my snapback with the leather patch surrounded by God's flannel. If you know, you know. That's coupon code FIRE10, FIRE10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase. Thank you all so much for supporting this podcast, and if you should feel compelled, treat yourself by supporting our sponsors as well. They truly make a difference for us. Now let's make a difference for them. See you on the next show.